Wait, what do you mean? Wait, what do you mean? What's wrong? Oh, technical difficulties.
All right,
Please
there
stand
we
by.
go. There we go. All right, now I think I worked out the stream, thinking about things ready to go, though. So, hello, everybody. Megastar here, back at it again to give y'all another very exciting episode on my ZardCast podcast. That being my episode 115. Oh, goodness. That's the reason why sometimes you got to work out these kinks and stuff like that. I know we skipped the podcast episode that should have been 2 weeks ago because of Thanksgiving and stuff. The way how the holiday fell, I was tired. I was exhausted. And I was like, you know what? We'll just act like, we did the week, even though we didn't. And we'll resume 2 weeks later. So here we are. We got to make up for some lost time now. But, yeah, it feels good to be back in the swing of things, though. Steven, how's it been going for you, man? Oh, wait, dang, did I already lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry, I was focused on something. Hi, guys. Yep, it's Steven. Sorry.
See, it's one thing for me to be off to start off the episode. And how can you be off? You're just over there chilling, man.
No, I am far from chilling. Sorry, I paused what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it was just not in the part where I could pause.
I think he's playing something on the side, which we'll probably get to a little bit later on in the show, though. But just to go over some headlines in terms of like some stuff that we're going to be going through and talking about in this episode. The Analogue 3D has officially released. I know in the last episode, I told everybody, I was like, look, the thing is going to be releasing and shipping here soon. I got it in my hands, so I'm going to just give some rough overview thoughts over what I kind of think about the system. I'll have a dedicated video coming out on my channel a little later on this week, though, but just on the surface level, I got to give my thoughts on that, especially since Analogue made another weird old announcement, which we'll get to that here a little bit later on. Obviously, the big major highlight of the show is going to be the Game Awards and stuff, which we got to go over all the announcements on that, the whole show and a general consensus, and then obviously, which games won which awards and everything else in between. That's going to be the biggest chunk of it. Like, I would say like 80% of the show. And then we also got some stuff to talk about in terms of like a couple of different pop culture stuff, which we'll talk about those couple of items first, though. So, it should be a fairly good show. And just a heads up for everybody, this is technically going to be the very last live stream podcast episode for the year of 2025. I'll have one other episode go up for the pod after this week, but that will be like my holiday special one that I usually have recorded. But it won't be like a live premiere of it, like, just a live stream like this, though. So in terms of that, this is technically the last live stream of the year for 2025, and then we'll resume normal operations midway in January for 2026. As I know with those episodes, since January is typically a slower month and stuff, we're going to do our year-end reviews for the whole year of 2025, where that's kind of broken up in like a part 1 for the first episode of the year, and then a part 2 for the second half of the year. And that's how we kind of treat those first 2 podcasts in the month of January, though. All right. I think that's enough groundwork laid out here for this episode right here. So now we might as well go ahead and jump up in it, though. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into that pop culture segment. All righty, Steven. Man, I looked at this little bit of news when it was actually announced, and my goodness, I didn't think to have on my bingo card for acquisitions for the year 2025 for Netflix to acquire Warner Brothers. Now, originally, when people kind of look at that, they're just thinking about, Netflix buying out like your Looney Tunes or something like that, or access to, like a Batman movie or whatever, though, like any of the DC stuff, though. But it also kind of hands over into some of the gaming related stuff, because you do got like your Batman games or stuff like that, etc., that are also from Warner Brothers as well. I mean, shoot, we got one coming up with that Lego Batman game that's coming up next year, though. But how are you feeling about this big major acquisition? Almost starting to feel like a monopoly-ish, kind of. But what you thinking,
I feel like
Steven?
this is definitely the most major acquisition we have seen. Like the whole Paramount like the Fox thing was big. Like I feel like this is probably the biggest acquisition since Fox was bought by Disney. Just in terms of like so many franchises being under the same umbrella. It's not a monopoly, but it probably is the closest thing because Netflix definitely, was a competitor to Warner Brothers in terms of like streaming and all that. Like HBO Max was not really doing all that well. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. They changed the name. They changed it from HBO Max just to Max, and then
Mm-hmm.
they changed it to HBO Max again.
Yeah, I remember when they
And
changed their logos, or not logos, their branding that much, and I was like,
they were extremely
mm-hmm.
desperate, okay? Because like they were doing stupid stuff. Like they even did the Zack Snyder's Justice League. They did at one point. Like they were doing desperate things just to get people to watch their streaming content. And half of the time it was like fucking nothing interesting. The only thing that I'm slightly interested in is that they technically did a sequel series, the Adventure Time kind of on HBO Max. But
Yeah,
like even then, like Warner Brothers has been making a ton of stupid decisions ever since their merger. You know how many all the stuff they canceled. I'm sure we talked about when that happened.
as long as we get Wile E. Coyote, that movie out before something
It is.
weird like
It's
this
coming.
happens. They say it's
It's
coming.
coming. I don't think they could stop that now. Like a different studio picked up the rights for that movie.
Hmm.
Like a different studio, not even connected to Warner Brothers, picked up the rights to like distribute the movie. I'm pretty sure. So like it will come out no matter what. If it does well though, probably not. It's probably not gonna get like any marketing like that one. You know that recent Looney Tunes movie that came out, the
Oh,
2D
the one
one,
with the
Porky Pig and Daffy.
you said Porky Pig and Daffy?
Yeah, like the day it was
Oh
like the day the
gosh, I
Earth
thought
blew
it was
up.
the Martian dude and something. Oh dear,
He
no.
might be in it, but yeah,
Oh.
it was called The Day the Earth Blew Up.
Oh no, okay, no, okay, no, that's the movie I was thinking of. I was just thinking wrong people up in the movie. No, yeah, I remember. But nah, it's interesting to see how this will all play out. And I think Netflix is trying to move really fast on this acquisition stuff like that. But I mean, it could get shut down depending on the way how everybody else happens to look at this and see whether or not if it's actually a good play or if it starts to become too much like a monopoly ish. When that much money is floating and that many IPs and stuff are all getting conglomerated into one big
Well,
thing, it has to go through
I
so
think
many different checks.
Paramount's also trying to get them.
Hmm.
Because think about it, Warner Brothers has a lot of valuable IPs. They have like so many icon, all of Cartoon Network, basically all of Adult Swim. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have all of
They
that. I
also
think they don't they
they
have access
also
to the
have
Lord of the
Harry
Rings
Potter.
stuff, or is that,
They have Harry Potter. I'm pretty sure they also have Lord of the Rings. I'm just thinking of stuff that was in multiverses, honestly. Like
oh yeah,
Iron
yeah, that was
Giant,
pretty
a
good.
bunch of random stuff like that. Obviously, everything with Looney Tunes and that classic animation catalog has so much legacy value to it.
Hmm.
Um, uh, it's just a lot. You know what I mean? It's just so much stuff that it's crazy that we even got to this point. Honestly,
Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel too impartial or too
oh,
indifferent one way or the other. But I mean, it's just something to kind of see all of. The only thing really is going to affect some people in a lot of different ways is when people look at that Netflix subscription cost per month, because there
it's
ain't
gonna
no
get
way it's going
higher.
to stay the
It's gonna
same.
get
It definitely is going to
higher.
go higher. And I'm like,
Oh wait, I there was so much stuff I didn't even consider. By the way, like the fact that like they own major TV networks like uh TBS, TNT, HBO,
oh,
obviously CNN. Warner Brothers has that game studio that's been making shit, but either way, they still have a game studio. All of Hanna Barbera, like Scooby Doo, fucking Flintstones.
the stuff they used to watch
The
off of
monster.
Boomerang. Yeah.
Apparently, the MonsterVerse is them. So like the monster verse versions of Godzilla and Kong and all
Yeah,
those
and
characters.
that one's weird because I don't think they have
Uh,
full rights of it, but they have like a chunk of it, or it's something weird with that one. But yeah,
and then if we're talking about iconic franchises, obviously literally everything DC.
yeah.
It's it's a lot, man. Like, gaming will be affected by this. Mortal Kombat obviously is part of them. Hogwarts Legacy was just recently made. We don't know how much money that game even made, but
I think it must have made
mergers
a good bit.
either way, mergers basically never end well.
Yeah, they typically don't. So we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. Whether or not they, and I don't think they can get access to all of it in one go. They might have to split that up in like chunks or whatever. Though that's like trying to eat the whole pie in one sitting. Like they might have to divvy that mess up until they can finally get all of it. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But we'll keep y'all up to date in terms of that though. But yeah, in terms of like just standard old media, yeah, this is the biggest one we've seen in quite some time. Like, ooh, my goodness. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it for that. We got one bit of other news in terms of pop culture stuff as well, because we did get a confirmation that apparently there's going to be a new Sonic movie coming out December 22nd, 2025. Or hold on, did I? No, no, no.
2028.
2028. In my notes, somehow I typed 2025. I meant to put 2028 because there's no way that movie's coming out in like a few days. Nah, but yeah, in 2028, in December, on the 22nd, apparently there's supposed to be a brand new Sonic movie. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, and they say it's within the Sonic universe, but we don't have like no official trailer, no nothing like that. But it's just kind of out there. And we do know in the previous year, what will be 2024, that's supposed to be the Sonic.
2027.
Oh
Getting
my gosh, I
dates
keep
messed
looking at that
up.
2025 data in my little. No, in 2027, the previous year from 2028, we're talking about with this movie. That's when Sonic 4 is supposed to be coming out, and I'm like,
Yeah, and so they're being really sketchy. The fact they're saying it is a movie in the Sonic universe, like it's not a Sonic movie. Obviously, it's not like Sonic is the main character. They don't want to say it's a Sonic movie, and then shareholders get disappointed. I think it's pretty damn obvious it's a Shadow movie.
it could be.
Not only is Shadow probably the second most recognizable fucking Sonic character, like, he's on the same level as, like, Tails. Like, he is extremely recognizable. He has a ton of interesting plot points you could bring for a movie, obviously. He was heavily set up in fucking Sonic 3, okay? Heavily set up in Sonic 3. Are we allowed to talk about spoilers for that movie? Quick.
When did that movie come out?
2024, about a year ago now.
Uh, I use my statute of limitations on the channel is typically a year. It's
In
almost a
like
year.
in like in
Just
like a
don't
week
just
it will
don't
be a
spoil the
year.
climax. Just don't spoil the
Okay.
climax.
The end credit scene does spoil that Shadow will still be a player in this universe. That's all I'll say.
Mm. All right. But yeah, so
That's
I'm
it.
thinking I was almost kind of
So,
leaning on the side of I think whatever this movie adaptation is, I feel like they might pull something weird with Sonic 4 and say, hey, there's a part one and a part two, but they're kind of keeping it
well,
vague for
no,
the
no,
thing
the
because sometimes when movies are done as a part one, part two, they can hit them in back to back years.
well, so here's the thing. There's two options. It could be that they don't want to reveal, obviously Sonic 4 being a two-part movie like Infinity War and Endgame would be a massive spoiler. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking they just kind of code it like this. So people just kind of be like, well, what is it? What is it? And then they figure out when we get much closer, oh, it is a part one, part two.
Like, I completely understand why they would not want to reveal that. That, like, obviously is a big, it's a big spoiler. So it could be that, and they just don't want to reveal it yet. Or the much simpler answer is that it's a Shadow movie, and they just don't want to reveal it yet because I don't know, they just don't want to reveal it yet.
Yeah, because my only thing is, if it were a Shadow movie, why would you do it that close, right behind Sonic 4? If you were gonna do something like that, spread it out a little bit. Make some more revenue. With having a little bit longer of a gap, it allows a little bit more cushion, allows a little bit more work. You can get your merchandise and
I
stuff
don't
lined
know.
out, maximizing on
Or
sales potentially, versus it's hitting in back-to-back years, unless it's a part one, part two.
well, because I feel like there will be too much fatigue. I don't think two Sonic movies back to fucking back is a good idea. Like by the time it will be 2.5 years from Sonic 3, when Sonic 4 comes out, which I'd say that's a decent amount. I'd say like that's more than enough time for fatigue to go away. You have Sonic in 2027, and then you immediately have more Sonic in 2028. I don't know about that. I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it'll make sense if it's a two-parter, but if it was just a standard like what you're thinking, the Shadow movie, there'll be a little bit more of a gap just to kind of spread that mess out. So I don't know. That's
I
just
just
kind of where my
it's
head's at.
I don't know. Or Sonic 4 is gonna end with Sonic going, where there's gonna be time travel stuff. I'm assuming because CD. So I'm just imagining it now. He goes back. He goes back to the present, and oh my god, that something he changed led to the bad future. And now that the plot of Sonic 4 is fixing the future, or Sonic 5, I mean, I don't know though.
Hmm.
There's a lot they could do, obviously. Either way, I don't. The one thing I know for a fact it's not gonna be a fucking Mario crossover. Shut up, guys.
Who's saying that?
I've seen people saying that.
No,
I've
no,
seen
no.
people say,
Whoever's putting that mess out in the realm, they just need to stand up and then sit back down. That's absolutely ludicrous.
like, oh, it's gonna be an event. It's gonna be a movie in the Sonic universe. It has to like be a crossover, right? Like, no, shut up.
I don't know. Maybe you're on the wrong side of Twitter or something. I don't know. At least I haven't been seeing nothing like that, thankfully. But
Nah, either way, like, I don't think that's happening. I think this whole quote unquote Super Smash Bros. Movie nonsense is not happening.
okay. Well, outside of that, it's just pretty much speculation at this point. We just know that something's going to
Yeah.
be coming out in 2028. So it's just kind of nice to know that we have something to really look forward to, but you almost got to have to sit that in the far depths of the back of your mind and stuff and act like you didn't hear about that news. So it's like 2028. I know, yes, we're technically about to be in 2026, so it'll feel like 2 years-ish away, but for all sakes and purposes, it's really still going to feel like 3 years away. So it's like, whatever, though. But yeah, outside of that, that's pretty much it in terms of all my pop culture related news. So now we'll go ahead and jump over to the next part of the show, that being what we've been playing. All right, Steven, I know it's been about a month, and we've been playing quite a bit of stuff between recent releases. I know I've been going through and playing some retro stuff as well, and kind of everything else in between though. But I'll save some of my retro stuff for a segment that will happen shortly after this. But outside of the major key highlight that we're about to talk about with Metroid Prime 4 here in just a second, was there anything else that you've been playing recently outside of that?
Playing a lot of Kirby Air Rider still, if that
And
counts.
yeah, and I'm still trying to remember. I think I felt like we talked about Kirby Air Riders in the last pod, because I think that's when it came out. I think, if I remember my dates right, I'm pretty sure we covered it already, or at least hopefully we
Yeah.
did. But yeah, that game is fun. I always have a better time playing with y'all. There's just so much stuff out right now. I just hadn't been able to put like my full time up into that. Shoot, I still need to sit down and still beat Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. But right now, I'm still actively playing Metroid Prime 4, and I think I'm trying to knock them out in a certain way where I'll do Metroid Prime 4 first. Shoot, I don't even have this as a segment on the show. The Pokemon
Oh,
Legends ZA DLC. I think I'll do that second. I'll go back and do the Hyrule Warrior stuff before then trying to do any extra stuff within Kirby. Because Kirby, I can always dabble here and there. I don't have to put a ton of time up in it. But those other few games,
yeah.
like I gotta, there's stuff that gotta be done in those three games. Whereas Kirby, that's the game that keeps on giving. You can keep coming back to that one. So yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna keep playing Kirby, like for however long. Like, it's not really a game I plan on uh not playing anytime soon. So yeah, that's completely understandable, honestly. For me though, I'm kind of just playing whatever I feel like, man.
Hmm.
Like I might do a couple speed runs of Prime 4 just to see how it is after I beat it.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Cause yeah, but it's mostly been Prime 4, and I guess I have dabbled with Fortnite, which they did a Lego Ninjago update, which is like one of my favorite franchises.
Okay. Uh,
All the all my little quirks all combining together.
Man, you can never give Fortnite a break. I
I can
still see
never give
you in the
Fortnite a
DC
break.
always playing
Uh,
what consistently on
I
Wednesdays or something.
Yeah, I can never. Well, not there's not really a specific day. I can never give Fortnite a break because they just keep doing new shit to lock me back in.
Mm-mm.
I'm enjoying it
You
though.
gotta learn
It's
how to let
fun.
it go, man. You just gotta let it go.
There's no reason for me to let it go. I'm still having fun with it. Like if I wasn't having fun with it, that'd be one thing.
Okay. All right. Well, let's
I
go
get what
ahead
you're
and talk
saying
about the main bit here, because obviously, Metroid Prime 4 has came out. Gosh, what was that? Has it been 2 weeks already, Steven? 2 weeks? Or I guess midway
fucking
this week will
10 days,
be
10 days.
okay, week and a half. So we're rolling into what would be week 2 right now. And gosh, this game is certainly a game. And that's kind of where I'm leaning at right now. I'm not saying that it's like the greatest thing in the world, but it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world either. Like I definitely feel like it's a solid game, and it has its flaws. That's kind of where I'm seeing it right now, because
Yeah, I'm a very similar position.
yeah.
Wait,
And don't get me wrong, the game looks
sorry to
beautiful.
interrupt you. My headphones died. Let me plug them back
Oh,
in so I
okay.
can hear you.
While
What?
he's doing that, um, the game itself looks beautiful. I love all the environments and stuff like that. It's always a great spectacle, kind of looking and playing through a Metroid Prime game. In which case, when you look at Metroid Prime 4, I mean, shoot, it's even elevated to that higher level degree, because this is a fully HD Prime game. Think about it. Prime 1, 2, and 3 weren't even in HD because they were all on the GameCube and the Wii, until you had the remaster that came out on the Switch about a couple or few years ago. Yeah, you technically got that in HD though, but to be able to play a Metroid Prime 4 game in 4K 60 and fidelity, I mean, that's really nice. I've
I'm
been
back.
playing like 90%. Okay, there we go. I've been going through and playing 90% of my playtime with Metroid Prime 4 in fidelity, because when it's 4K 60, I don't really need much more than that. But yes, I did dabble with the 1080 120 FPS mode, which that's really cool as well, to be able to have higher frames like that. I just have to dabble around with it just to see like that. It's nice to be able to do that in handheld play as well. And
I've been
luckily,
playing
my
4K 60 personally.
okay. Yeah, me and you, I think, been doing the same thing. And luckily, my TV supports the 120 FPS, the new one I picked up from a Black Friday, so a pretty good deal, I might add, though. Um, but yeah, I've been able to test it out that way too, and it does feel like super buttery smooth if you're able to play that game in 120, or should you choose to, whether it be handheld or if you got a TV that supports it, though. But I mean, at that point, I'm like, I might as well just get the higher 4K stuff, because those environments, like the worlds and stuff outside of the desert, because there ain't much to do. It's just a general old desert. I've been thoroughly enjoying the different environments I've been going through. I went through like obviously you had the intro segment where Sam is busting with all those Galactic Federation people and stuff. There's I guess that's like a mini tutorial section. Then
Yeah, I like
obviously you
the
have
like that stuff.
the flora, which I hey, don't quote me on these names yet. I ain't got these names memorized yet though. But you got the place where you really start off at on that plant world ish thing, and then I explored the ice world. Those are the two different biomes I've really been able to go through so far. I know I need to make my way over to, like, I think there's like a volcano area. I think that's the next one on my bucket list, and that's kind of where I'm at in the game without going too deep up in it or not really spoiling. We're not going to throw any spoilers up here on this podcast either, though. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. But Steven, I was just kind of giving my overall thoughts on visually how the game looks. I hadn't really gone to the gameplay yet. I was just talking about the
Yeah,
world
this
building.
game is beautiful. It's a extremely nice looking game. I'll give it that. Like, the visuals are by far the best part about this game. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. The visuals are definitely the best part about this game, which, usually I prioritize gameplay over visuals. So make of that what you will. All I can say is that I am enjoying the game. I am having fun because Metroid Prime's base gameplay of how it feels, how it plays, is fun. Design wise, though, there's a lot of things I like, there's a lot of things I don't like. But I'll tell you this, there's a lot more that I am confused about. Like, a lot of weird design decisions. Like, for example, the game will be pretty handholdy, but then you'll just randomly have a part mixed in that doesn't really explain itself quite well.
Man,
I don't know
I
if
had a
you're
couple of
up to the
instances
ice
like that.
area. Are you up to the ice area yet?
I
I'm just
cleared the
curious.
ice area. Yeah.
So, you know that part at the beginning with the wolves?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that, okay, I gotta defeat them all. I gotta last a certain amount of time. Nope, it's a scripted sequence. You have to get down to like no health.
Oh wait, I was wondering about that because I was like, I was cleaning up shop, and then I was like,
I
this
was
is a
sitting there
really
for
long
5 minutes.
sequence. I was like, okay, whatever. And then I started moving Samus around to see if that did anything. Ultimately, me moving around caused her to take more hits. I started taking more damage, and then it played out like how you just described it. And I was like, huh. I didn't think much of it, to be honest. Now that's just crazy.
Yeah, it annoyed me a lot, honestly. It really did fucking annoy me. Especially because I spent like 5 minutes thinking, all right, yeah, I must be doing pretty good. And it's like, the game, like, on one hand, like sometimes the game thinks you're a fucking idiot, and sometimes they don't tell you what to do. Half of the time, I forget I even have this. You know the beam where you can like move it around yourself, like freely aim it as it's moving.
Oh, that one, yes.
Half the time, I forget I have it because the game hardly uses it, and then the game expects me to remember it in like the
Yeah,
weirdest
because there
spot.
was one thing that you do in the ice world where you had to do it technically 3 different times, and I
Yes,
kind of forgot about that too. And I was scratching my head for the longest time. I was like, "What am I supposed to do with this thing right here?" But yeah, that makes
it's like
sense.
a lot of strange design decisions. Like I love how the game looks. I like the music a decent amount. I think the voice acting is all good. The writing is like okay.
No, yeah, and I do like the story interactions and stuff like that. Before, well, we'll keep it on gameplay before we start talking about a tiny bit of story. Not nothing more than what we kind of saw in the trailers, though. But the gameplay wise, I've been thoroughly enjoying it. I mean, because it's kind of weird with Metroid Prime games. There's like so many different configurations of how you can play this game. Like you can play it with dual sticks. You can play it with pointer controls, like split the Joy Cons up, play it like as if like you're playing it like a Metroid Prime, not the remaster, the Metroid Prime trilogy where you do the like the Wii remote nunchunk style, or you can just play it with traditional dual sticks. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways how you can play this game. I haven't even experimented around with the mouse mode. I honestly probably should have, which that kind of meant I needed to sit over here at my PC decks to kind of play it properly because you got to have a big old flat surface and everything now. But I've been mostly playing it with dual sticks. Is that the same way how you've been playing with it, or have you dabbled with one of the other modes?
I have been playing it with dual sticks because I tried it with mouse, and it's fun for a bit, but I feel like if you play it for an extended period, it just gets a little uncomfortable because you have to press the buttons on the side of the Joy-Con
Mm.
while moving around. Like for example, you know how in the advertising they're like, "Oh yeah, you could hold it and then while you're playing immediately turn the Joy-Con on its side."
Yeah.
That's I don't know. I think that's stupid. Like when I'm playing an aiming game, I'm usually gonna be moving my mouse around all the time. So it's like my mouse is basically always gonna be on its side, and I'm always gonna have to press the buttons in a weird like angle.
I guess they were kind of going for the effect of play it like your dual sticks normally. Action starts happening. You need that precise aiming. You slam that Joy-Con down and you start shooting and stuff. When the action is done, you pick it up and you go back to exploration. I think that's what they were kind of going for, which that kind of made sense in my head. But I just hadn't messed around to actually try it out for myself yet.
Yeah, it's like very very interesting.
Yeah.
It's a lot more I could say, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. And outside of that, I do like the power ups, the new stuff that she managed to get with all of her psychic abilities. Some people are kind of fans of it or are okay with it. I'm just okay with it. I don't really have any strong biases one way or the other because I did dabble with Metroid Prime Remaster, but I hadn't necessarily finished that game either. And in terms of me and my Metroid love or appreciation, I'm a bigger fan of the 2D series. I went through and played every one of those, but the 3D ones with Prime, dabble with the first one. I mean, shoot, I have the GameCube version of it, and I have the Switch remaster version. And didn't finish either one of them, but obviously, I'm gonna try to do my best to finish the Metroid Prime 4 game. With it, just being a modern game, so it's kind of easier to kind of push through stuff like that, though. But
Well,
overall, like psychic abilities, I find them fine. It does kind of diversify, what makes this game different versus some of the other games prior in the series, though. So I don't really have any beef on it, though. But what were you about to say?
it just feels like a game that it doesn't really have an identity. Like it's trying to be so many things. It's trying to be a Metroid game. It's trying to be a Zelda game. It's trying to be this like story-based game.
I
You
mean, in
know, a
which
bunch
case,
of
Metroid, it does have story, but it's usually like one of those things where you got to look for it yourself, and it has like more of the
but
lore
like
building around it. That's kind of how the
no,
series
well
always kind of been.
that's not how this game
No,
is.
I'm
This
no,
game
I'm
has
saying in general, that's how the series has
yeah.
always been.
Yeah, it's usually like that. This game is not like that. This game is a lot more deliberate, a lot more, I guess, talkative. But yeah, then you'll have like a whole 30-minute stretch where no one's talking to you. But like it feels like a game with a lot of like weird like identity crisis. It also is trying to be like a Metroid game where like some of the areas will be pretty short and fun to traverse. But then you'll have areas that are just really long and padded out. The desert is like a fundamentally bad design choice.
Oh man, you brought the desert up. All right. That
It's
is
just
probably the lowest of the low points I have with this game because I'll be out in that little jungle-ish area. I'm like, oh, I love these environments and all of these different creatures and stuff. This flora and fauna you're fighting up against and stuff. You just never knew what was gonna pop its way out the woodwork. You go into the desert and it's like, okay, it's a desert. You weren't expecting much. You expect to go from point A to point A to point B, at least for the first time, get into, like, for example, the ice world or a volcano area or whatever area you need to go. It makes sense going from point A to point B across this desert. I didn't have no problem with it, even though there was no music for you to drive up on. But it's like, you know what? If you're just going to be in the barren desert for just a short period of time or maybe knock out a shrine or two while you're out there, no big deal. You can kind of get past that or whatever, though. But then slowly but surely, I started figuring out how many times you got to cross against this gosh dang desert and these little crystals that'll be out there in that desert. You got to smash every one of those little things to get like certain progression in terms of your upgrades and stuff. And I think there's a point in the game where you need to have X amount of those things before you can progress any further. I'll leave it at that. You put two and two together, you're in that desert for a lot longer than what you think you're originally going to be in. And
I
when you're not having any music or nothing like that, and this kind of feels more like a task or a chore, that's where it started to chat my hide. Then you get into the ice world and you're like, oh, okay. I like this. I'm back to liking this. Then you remember, oh, you got to cut across that desert just to meet with go back to base camp to get an upgrade, and then you're like, oh, I gotta go through this whole entire desert because you ain't got no fast traveling. Even though in a lot of these other past Metroid games in general, you can even look at the 2D ones. At least you were able to teleport and move around a little bit, even in some of those games. But you telling me I can't do this in this big open? Well, it's not even open. It's more like an open zone game like this. Like I don't know.
you
I don't understand
also
the
need
design choice up in this mess.
the amiibo in order to unlock music while designing while riding on the bike.
And that
But
too,
not
which
only
thankfully
that,
I
you
had that, but
also
not everybody and their mom was gonna have that amiibo, and I didn't even
yeah,
know
me
about that
too. But
before
guess
even buying
what?
the amiibo.
Guess what? Only two tracks until you beat the game,
Oh
or
goodness.
maybe three. I think
No, it's
three.
3.
Okay,
You get 2 when you beat the game.
yeah, which is even worse, honestly. Either way, like the other amiibo are also kind of stupid. I like the bike one. It just gives cosmetic skins for the bike. Whatever. Like, and then the Silex amiibo is probably the stupidest one of all. if you scan the Silex amiibo, it immediately gives you the cutscene that you're supposed to get for 100%ing the game.
Like a whole
And then
cutscene. I didn't get a cutscene when I scanned that thing.
it goes into the gallery. It says, "Oh, you can view this cutscene early in the gallery," and then once maybe you're not at a certain point in the story. I think it says once you beat the game, you could view it. Maybe it says. Either way, like you don't need to 100% the game to get
Oh
this
no no
special
no. Okay, no,
cutscene.
I get it now. No, yeah, because when you scan that amiibo in, there's like flashback stuff that where it stitches it all together as one big massive cutscene.
But you hardly even
But you
see it
need,
in the
yeah, I
first
know,
place.
yeah, but you would need 100% the game to be able to watch it fluidly like that. But whenever you scan that amiibo, once you beat the game, you just able to watch the whole thing. Yeah, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing. And then after that, when you scan the amiibo, basically all it gives you is Silex voice lines.
Which is cool. It's just a nice little tidbit.
But like it's just
But
it's stupid because you scan it, you get a Silex voice line, okay? And then you could only one. It gives you the option to keep replaying that one voice line, and it's like only a single sentence, by the way.
no, but here's the thing
And
though.
then you have to scan the amiibo. You have to scan the amiibo multiple times to get different lines,
Yeah.
and even then, you can get repeats. What were they thinking? Why can't I just view all of them?
I'm surprised they didn't just slowly add that to the gallery, but then I guess they didn't want to make it feel like super super exclusive, but it kind of is. I don't know what their decision making on that.
Like they wanted Silex to be the main threat, but they also like hardly show him like to the point where I need to fucking scan the amiibo to hear his voice.
Mm, I
Why
don't
isn't
know.
he? Why is he not the first boss in the game? He should be that first boss at the beginning of the game that you fight.
Pull like a Ridley, like you fight him at the beginning, then you fight him
Yeah,
towards the end. I
which
mean,
like
you
sets up an
well,
antagonist that
shoot.
kind of
Mm,
makes you like excited to like rematch him.
I was about to say something, but if we go into those details, it kind of spoils it.
No,
I'm not
but
going to
no,
say that, but
it's a game with an identity crisis. I'm actually on the credits as we speak.
mm,
Okay, I'm not gonna say much besides like I like the game, but it has flaws, more flaws than what I'm used to when playing a like Nintendo game. Like it's just there's a certain certain it's not even a lack of quality. It's just a lack of design that makes sense.
and I'll probably say this until like I'm blue in the face. I feel like this is one of those games. Unfortunately, just the way how it was handled when it was first being made by Bandai, and then they say, you know what? Nope, we can't let them do this anymore. Retro Studios, get back on your stuff like how you're supposed to. Which I don't even know what Retro Studios was working on prior to this game. I don't know if we'll ever learn exactly what they were doing in that limbo time
Well,
between Tropical Freeze and this.
I
But
think that's the problem is that they got like, they were shaken up by this. Like, they whatever they were working on, it was in development hell, and then Nintendo was like, "No, we need you to do this instead."
so yeah, so making that pivot right there, you basically scrap. We only know 2 years worth of work. There's probably more that they're always doing prior to public knowledge of a game
Remember,
being an
they
announcement. So this game
they
could have easily
announced
been
it.
in, yeah, because they announced
Yeah.
it way back in 2017. They probably were working on this since like probably 2013,
No, probably like
maybe.
2015, 2016.
Could be. I don't know. Because sometimes
Then
it could be starting with not necessarily like actual work, but it could be like,
well, they
prepping,
just showed a
planning,
logo.
this decision.
They
Well, I mean, for us, I'm just talking about just development period. Like they probably started this
Yeah.
like 2 years before that announcement, though. I mean, they had to have enough to work on before they let the public know about it. But regardless, that was like 3 to 4 years of development and stuff thrown in the trash, rebooted, and then we have to start back from scratch. And obviously, like this is one of the first few games announced for the Nintendo Switch, and it turns out happens to be one of the very last games of the console generation for this thing. It just cost so much money by the time they rebooted it and have to start it over from scratch. Where I felt like Nintendo looked at this game and it's like, you know what, get this mess out the door. Because even when you look at the marketing material for this game right to the lead up of this launch, I mean, think about it. They didn't really go all out like with the marketing they did for Dread. Like, you put that marketing for Dread and look at and put it right next to Metroid Prime 4, it's almost a night and day difference. I can't tell you though. Like, I got hyped through the moon through Dread, but I wasn't necessarily feeling that same thing with Metroid Prime 4. I mean, shoot, they were marketing the mess out of even Age of Imprisonment, which still didn't feel like it got a whole bunch, but when it got close, it did. And then obviously Kirby got a ton of fanfare with it, and it just kind of felt Metroid, we'll just squeeze you out. We'll barely manage to get you out this year since we said it was supposed to come out in 2025. We'll put you out in the first week of December or so, and we'll just call it a day. That's kind of how I felt like what they did with Metroid Prime 4, because they just burned through too much money. Maybe that's the reason why we didn't get a lot of marketing material, because it's been all in the development costs. I don't know. But yeah, overall, Metroid Prime 4, I'm just kind of feeling on it. Like, there's a lot of good, but then there's always some equally kind of bad or what's up with this decision making up on this thing. We didn't even really talk about the characters talking and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I might have one quip with only one of the dudes though, but these other NPCs, I mean, they've been fine or whatever though. I don't know. It's kind of a weird bag mix of beans. It's kind of what Metroid Prime 4 is at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, definitely. I I I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. It's just like I don't know. It's the type of game I really do need to like play again and like go into it with a different perspective on things.
Maybe, but I mean, at least for me personally, when I'm done with this, I'm just moving on. I'm like, you can't be a bag of mixed beans like this for me to expect myself to go through my busy schedule and my time commitments and stuff like that, because it's already tight playing games as it is already, because you want to play so many different things. The game got to be extremely good for me to keep coming back to. It got to be like a level of like a Donkey Kong Bonanza, or a game like a Mario Kart World, which you can get replayability just because the fact you have like an online competitive aspect nature, or you're able to play with friends or something like that. You don't have that with Metroid Prime 4. It's a single player thing, and once you've seen the game, you've seen it, unless you're just trying to improve a personal time best, which some people like that. People like myself, not necessarily so. When you're done with this game the first time, that's just going to be it, at least for a good chunk of time. So that's kind of where I stand with Metroid Prime 4 right now. I'll keep y'all updated, because I guess the next time we have the podcast episode, which will probably be in January unless I talk about something in the holiday special, hopefully by then I'll have the game beaten, so I might give my full thoughts when I beat the game. But yeah, was there
Yeah.
anything else you wanted to say on that, Steven?
Nah, because like we'll talk about it more, I bet.
Okay. All right, well,
Like
that's pretty much...
not much is coming soon, like, you know.
Yeah. All right, well, that's pretty much all we've been going through and playing as of late. So that's going to conclude that one segment of the pod. So now we're going to go ahead and jump over to the next major segment of the show, that being What's in the Gaming News. All right, Steven, the day has finally came. I managed to get that glorious Analogue 3D system up in my hands, and I was like, oh, it felt so good. Every time I brought it up in the show, I was always talking about some kind of delay, something that really just chapped my eye. But now I can finally look over there to my right and see right underneath my TV screen, I got the system plugged into my TV, and man, this thing has taken me down memory lane. I mean, I was prepared for the system when it came out. I already had the 8-bit DOE Analog 3D controller that was kind of sold in tandem with the Analog 3D itself. It's kind of funny. They released that controller out before the system came out, because I guess all the delays and whatever, though. Got a black one, though, to match with my black system, though. But yeah, once I managed to stick in one of those cartridges up in there, oh man, to seeing all the different settings that you're able to do, which there's quite a bit of stuff that you can do with this system, and you can get it to, to the fine tuning of whether or not you like your CRT filters and stuff like that, or those high end like ones that's like a BVM, like the best kind of TV you could have had back then around that time with your scan lines and stuff. there's a lot of stuff you can do within the settings and the graphical ways that you're able to set up all of these different games. I just kind of wish that there was like a universal way that you can set up pretty much all your games, and then you can kind of, just fine tune whichever ones you want to do though. But yeah, I've been putting a lot of time, at least within Diddy Kong Racing, Donkey Kong 64, and Conker's Bad Fur Day. Since those are 3 games I never actually managed to go through and fully beat, Donkey Kong 64 has taken like at least 80% of my playtime, and I dabble with Conker's Bad Fur Day, but I'm at the point now where I'm like, hey, Donkey Kong 64, that's kind of a time commitment for me, so I'm putting in a good chunk of that in there, though. And overall, I know, I was about to say 8-bit, though. I know Analogue as a company releases really great products when you finally get them in your hands, but they gotta do something about that business strategy of them releasing that mess, though. I kid you not. We shouldn't have had all those stupid amount of delays and everything else in between. Like, I felt like that mess could have been handled better. And then, when they finally do get this system in our hands, Steven, they decide to give everybody a good old-fashioned pimp slap. Because if you were one of those people like me that managed to pre-order this thing on day one, thinking that, hey, you know what, they're only going to have a certain amount of stock, at least for if you want to get it as soon as possible, lo and behold, they managed to say, we got a very, very, very limited edition of some fantastic colors that you saw with the original fantastic colors with the N64 way back in the day. We're talking about like the ice blue, the atomic purple, and all of that, all those translucent ones, the jungle one and stuff, and then even like a gold pimping one right there. And I'm looking at that mess, I'm like, ooh, all of those kind of look kind of cool. And they even got controllers to match all those colors. And they say, hey, we could actually ship this out and get it to you before Christmas. We're talking about a week or a week and a half turnaround, and you can get it in your hands. I already seen people that already got this sucker in their hands. I was like, what the heck? And of course, they do all of this after the original people that managed to, pay, give all that funding towards Analogue and stuff for the original Analogue 3D months and months and months ago. And that money might have went to go fund all these different versions. Granted, yes, I might have still picked up the original black one. I might not have gotten any of the other colors, but the ice blue one does look a little bit cool. That gold one, I started eyeballing a little bit. But I was like, I might have been all right. But for other people out there, that could have rubbed them the wrong way. And some people are just saying, from some of the people I've just been watching out on Twitter, you know what? I might not support Analogue like this, at least not at launch anymore. They're going to, treat people like that, which I don't blame them necessarily. So I just wanted something to kind of substitute my N64 because I just never been able to play my OG N64 on an HD TV, because of the way how, the system is. It's a little archaic to work with modern, hardware and stuff like that nowadays, though. But yeah, I rambled on long enough, Steven. Was there something you were going to say? Let me catch my breath for a moment.
I really wanted to get the red one, but I couldn't get it. Like, I would, if I wasn't really that interested, but like if I could get the red one, then I would.
Yeah, and that was the watermelon color, if I'm not mistaken. Which that one looks kind of, that one looks all right. You don't want to get like the controller or nothing like that?
No, I don't care for the controller.
At least you got that kind of mindset, because I'm over here looking at this system and I'm like, I don't really need more than the black controller that I already have for this system, because I already have like an OG N64 controller, like the ice blue one, the OG regular one, and I got the gold version of the N64 controller, and I got a couple other ones scattered around here. So I have enough to do 4 players, though, but to have like a wireless one that had like a traditional modern form factor with, just the 2 grips, that was kind of cool with the black one. And I really like it. It's a solid controller. I can see why people really like 8-bit dough products. It makes sense now, just playing with one. And when they said they got the fantastic colors for the other stuff for the match with the Analogue 3D, I bit into it. I bought the gold one and I bought the ice blue one as well. I couldn't hold myself back, Steven. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Syracuse. I just couldn't. But yeah, so I'm all here for this thing, though, because if you're a 90s kid like me, you love yourself some N64 stuff. So it's just been kind of nice going back through and playing games that were really fun, kind of simplistic in nature, not overly complex like what you got within some games nowadays with some of these modern games, though, just to kind of, take it easy and, just rewind the clock a little bit. I mean, it's just kind of nice. And they've been doing updates here and there, though. Gosh, it would be cool if you could actually play your cartridge and actually like connect to like an online lobby with your actual cartridge or something like that. Play like some GoldenEye randomly with some randos or something like that. That'd be cool. But I doubt they will ever do that, though. But it'll be nice, though. But outside of that, I've been thoroughly enjoying my Analogue 3D. I'll have more of my thoughts in a more like concise, almost semi-scripted, not necessarily scripted. Most of my videos aren't ever really scripted, though, but in a nice form factor, I will say, later on this week. So you can kind of look forward to all of that, though. But Steven, was there anything else you were wanting to say, or was that about it?
That's it on the analog stuff. It looks cool from everything you've been explaining to me. I'm glad that they finally came out with it and it's not like a terrible product or something. If the Funtastic colors stop getting scalped, maybe I'll get one.
Oh, those things are going for like 400, $500 on eBay now. I'm like, that's wild. Because the system original released for $250, and then once we got it in my hands, they moved it up to $270. And I think the color ones are a little bit more than that, or roughly around that spot, the 270 plus or something like that now. So I'm like, ooh, goodness, y'all.
Yeah, I gotta go put some stuff in the washing machine quick. Just talk about whatever the next thing is.
All right. So while I was doing that, we're gonna go ahead and move over to the next topic because we did manage to get a couple of different games added to the NSO. And a couple of these games were for the N64. We managed to get the inclusion of Rayman 2, The Great Escape, along with Tonic Trouble. I have no idea what the heck Tonic Trouble is, but it's cool for people out there that want to play themselves some good platformers on the N64. Rayman 2, on the other hand, though, I wasn't necessarily expecting this one. And I know there's like different versions of this, like, one that's like the PlayStation version of it and stuff like that, though. Well, I don't know. I might sit down and at least dabble around with Rayman. I never sat down and actually played a Rayman game from start to finish. I always mess around with ones where there'd be like a demo or something like that. Like, I remember that one that was like on the Wii U way back when. I remember playing the demo to death. But it's kind of nice that we managed to get 2 N64 games. Granted, it's still not necessarily the Christmas miracle that I was hoping that Nintendo was going to come out with us with. I thought they were going to finally either give us Donkey Kong 64, even though now I got a way to play that game. Analogue 3D managed to beat Nintendo to the punch on that one, though. Or I thought they were going to be able to give us like Smash Brothers or something like that. Give me 1 second here, y'all, real quick here. All right, yeah, I had a phone call that randomly popped up. But yeah, no, I was thinking that they were going to manage to give us something like that, either something with Smash Brothers or give us something on the lines of like, Donkey Kong 64, maybe even Diddy Kong Racing or something like that, or in between. It would have been really cool for us to get one of those different kind of games, though. But unfortunately, that didn't happen to be the case. Maybe at some point we'll manage to get it, though. But it was weird with the announcement of this one. It actually managed to hit out earlier. Like, it was on the day that they announced these. We're normally used to them revealing these announcements, at least if you're here in America, later in the evening and almost kind of close to night. Like, at least in my time, it's like close to 6-7 o'clock in the evening when they would make this announcement. But they made it early in the morning. That kind of threw me off. I was like, what the heck? But I was like, whatever. Maybe they wanted to do something weird with Japan. I don't even know if Japan even managed to get these same games that we got, though. But I was like, okay. I don't know if Steven's back yet. I don't think he is. But that's what we managed to get for the N64 side, because later on that evening, we managed to get the inclusion of Wario World for the Nintendo GameCube for NSO subscribers that happen to have a Switch 2. And I was like, wait a gosh dang minute. I went back and looked at the agenda of all the games we were supposed to expect to get for all the games for GameCube, and Wario World wasn't on that list. mind you, we're still supposed to be expecting to get, you know, Super Mario Sunshine, which is kind of funny because they have some examples of how you're supposed to do things with some of the settings on your Switch 2 in terms of like how you want to play these GameCube games, and like there's like some images of Sunshine in there, and yet we're still not able to actually play it. But whatever. Mario Sunshine probably for the better though. But you got Mario Sunshine that we're still waiting on. We're also waiting on Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, and then also Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon Gale of Darkness XD. And I'm like, wait a gosh dang minute. We have all four of those games to wait on, and then they just randomly hit us with Wario World, and now it's available. Like, here we go, Nintendo, with the crazy old crap again, though. I'm not saying anything about this game being bad. I was just really hoping to have some Path of Radiance or something like that playable for the holiday season. As if I don't already have like a lot of games that I need to play with my modern games and my retro games combined together, though. But I mean, overall, it's nice to be able to see it though. And you know what? I was going back and looking at that trailer. How on earth did they make this game look so cinematic and so bombastic with the choice of music selection for Wario World? Because you know how they do all these trailers for whenever they drop a new NSO game out. And I'm like, Wario World doesn't sound anything like that in that whole entire trailer. Like they're trying to beef it up to make it more than whatever it possibly is supposed to be. That's just crazy right there. I have no idea. I don't know what they were on about though, but some I don't know. I honestly do not know. All right,
I'm
Steven, are you
back,
back now?
Zard.
All right, you're back.
I'm
All
back.
right.
I heard you shitting on Mario Sunshine. Better watch your
Well, no,
tail.
hold up. This is my show. You better sit back down, or you can go back and put yourself in the washing machine with all that laundry, and clean that mouth out of yours as well. You can't come back on the
No,
show like that.
you know what they say about you know what they say about like going inside of a washing machine. It would like hurt.
I don't know. But yeah, I was just talking about the couple of N64 games we got along with the GameCube game that we got for NSO.
Rayman 2 is pretty cool. I don't really give a shit about Tonic Trumbull. WarioWare I've never played, but hey, I'll give it a
Wario
shot. You
World.
know what I mean? Wario World. I've never played it, but like, it's cool that they have it.
I'm just surprised more so that they announced this before getting any of the other four games that we know are coming. That's what got me. Because remember, Steven, how we're still missing the two Pokemon games, Fire Emblem and Sunshine. I'm just surprised we
Yeah,
didn't get any one of them four before
and
this.
I would love for them to shadow drop Mario Party 4, but they're not going to.
No, that's not a. No, they wanted to shadow drop it, kind of like how what they did with this. No, we probably would know those games are coming, and
All
if
right.
it's anything like the Mario Party, like 2 and 3, when they finally drop those games out, they'll probably do it right around the holiday season of next year or something like that. Probably November, maybe December, if I had to take a guess. But it wouldn't be like 4, 5, 6, and 7. It wouldn't be all of those in one batch. It would be like just a couple.
Well, yeah, like 4 and 5, and then do 6 and 7 in a different batch
But yeah.
is what it should be.
But yeah, not too bad stuff. I mean, I'm glad we managed to get a little bit more content. It's not the Christmas miracle I was hoping to get, but it is a little bit of something. I guess we'll just kind of leave it at that, though. Anything else on that one, Steven?
No, it's cool that they're doing more.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty much it in terms of all the general gaming news. Now we can go ahead and flip it over to the big major highlight of the night, that being the Game Awards. This is the thing that everybody had their eyes tuned out for better or for worse, to kind of see exactly what did Jeff Keighley have in store with his esteemed panel of judges to figure out who was going to win the Game of the Year award, what kind of announcements was going to be announced at the show, and what the freak is going on with Jeff Keighley and Miss Piggy. All those answers and more we're about to go through and discuss all about that mess right now. So we got those three different things to go through. Those are the three major segments. We'll start first with the announcements. We'll talk about the weird oddities and stuff with Miss Piggy in the middle, and then we'll talk about the award winners at the very tail end. We'll tackle it in that order. So I figure that's going to be a good order to hit all of these things. So now I got to pull up my little Discord chat to look at all the different games that were announced up in here, because there was a lot of stuff, but we're only going to highlight the notable things that probably people are going to care about the most, or at least what we might personally care about. Because obviously there was like a lot of bloat that you might have up in this thing. Some games here, there might have been a couple of indie stuff or some weird old third party games that ain't gonna really have longevity to it. So we're gonna hit on the major highlights, and I think everybody's gonna be content on that. And Steven, let me know if I happen to skip something that you don't see in the little chat here though. But I think I about hit everything. All
Let
right,
me
so
see.
first off, I will say this: Capcom was hitting. I'm not gonna say all the Capcom
Oh,
announcements
yeah.
all in one go, but we'll just take it slowly but surely though. But they showed up to the show big time though. Like my goodness, Pragmata. We finally got a release date for this because it's been kind of going through some delays, some development issues and stuff like that. It is confirmed to come out on April the 24th. And the interesting announcement with this is it's actually coming out on the Switch 2 day and date. And I'm like, oh, okay, Capcom. They ain't gonna miss us with this, because a lot of companies, they like to release it out on other platforms like the Xbox Series or PlayStation or whatever though, and then hit us with the Switch or Switch 2 release later down the road. Capcom's like, I got y'all. We're gonna have this game on day one. And on top of that, they even came out and said, oh, there's gonna be an amiibo for this thing too. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So yeah, that's pretty cool. They said that there's gonna be demos coming out for the consoles. However, if you have a PC, you can actually play a demo of it right now, which I kind of refreshed myself on when I was trying to form up all of the show notes for tonight. I'm like, oh gosh, I probably need to download that demo on my PC. Give me something to play up on this thing though. But yeah, that was pretty cool to see that trailer and just actually seeing that, hey, we got a concrete release date for it though. You
Yeah,
got
no. There's a game that you had. Well, okay. Yeah, there is a game you don't have on here that I did want to talk about quick. If that's fine.
Oh, you didn't got anything else on Pragmata?
No, it looks okay. I think the amiibo looks cool. I did see that. It is coming to Switch 2, which is surprising, honestly. We've seen pictures. The Switch 2 version doesn't look all that bad. Um, Either way, the demo hopefully will come to Switch 2 soon, because like I will try that. Like I would definitely be up to try that demo and see what it's about. Obviously. Besides that, like I was gonna say, it's not even the only Capcom amiibo coming. We know they're doing an amiibo for the main character of Resident Evil Requiem,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool.
Yeah, which
Uh,
that was the next thing I had up on the list. Since you already brought
but
it
like,
up, we might as well go ahead and talk about that. They did show another trailer for Resident Evil 9, and it's kind of cool how, I guess, the way how they're playing this game off. You get like some of the best of like the moments of what you might have had with RE2 and RE4. Whereas when you're playing with the girl, that's going to be the horror elements, like what you kind of got used to with like Resident Evil 2 or something like that. And
yeah,
then when you're playing as Leon, that's the action stuff, like what you kind of got used to playing within like a game like Resident Evil 4. So you get to blend the balance with both, which I guess can appease both different audiences. So that's kind of cool just to kind of see the game being tackled from that angle.
and it is really cool, honestly, to see Leon back, and he's kicking ass. He's got the chains, wielding the chainsaw as well. Like, I don't know. I'm excited for Resident Evil Requiem. I was always gonna get it because like I've told you before. I think Zard, Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8 are some of my favorite games in general.
Hmm.
So like I was really excited and going to buy this no matter what. But I feel vindicated knowing that I actually am excited for it now, because they just weren't showing anything earlier. Like I was excited. I was gonna get it, but they just weren't showing me anything that interested me. Resident Evil Requiem is also coming to Switch 2, and I swear they showed this. It's gonna be 60 FPS. Is they what they showed in like a gameplay demo? I'm pretty sure. I hope it is, obviously. Either way, I'm gonna get this game no matter what. They are also releasing Resident Evil 7 and 8 on Switch 2 on the same day.
Yeah, that's a lot of Resident Evil for
I'm
people out
buying
there.
those instantly.
Wait, so are you doing the whole thing where I don't know if they're offering that offer digitally as well, but where
No,
there's
I'm
a
not
package.
doing that.
Oh, okay. You're not doing that package where they're selling you 7, 8, and 9 for like
I
$90.
I don't think so because I don't think I'm getting Requiem on my Switch too. I think I'm gonna get it on Steam.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
I'll see. Either way, though, like, really excited for that game now, and Resident Evil is just a great franchise, and those games go on sale all the time. Please, anyone listening to this, start with Resident Evil 2.
All right. Yeah, so that was a solid announcement. So Capcom, they were hitting pretty strong. And then well, before I go to the next Capcom, I guess I had the third Capcom related thing up on here though. What was the thing that I was missing off my list, Steven?
So there was that game they showed at the beginning. It was like kind of like a fake out. Like it looked like a platformer, then it looked like a bunch of mishmashes of games, but I think it's still a platformer. It was that game called Bradley the Badger.
I had to look this up. Was that in the pre-show or was that in the actual main
It might have
show?
been in the pre-show, but basically it was like that game where like it's like this like badger guy or like
Oh,
he's like messing with like game elements, like kind of like has dev tools basically. And he goes to like a Bloodborne inspired thing, a Cyberpunk inspired thing, bunch of different worlds. I think it's a 3D platformer, but it looks really nice. It looks like it has a lot of interesting ideas with the gameplay, being able to literally change stuff around you. That game looks like it's gonna be really fun. But like they didn't show much. I don't even know when it's coming out. I don't think they said when it's coming out. All I can say is that it looks like a fun game that I'm going to keep on my radar, and probably like one of the more interesting things I've seen tonight.
no, yeah, I remember seeing that trailer. I was like, oh, this one looks weird. I mean, yeah, it's a little more colorful. It doesn't look as kind of weird in some of these other announcements we got throughout the
I
show.
just like seeing gameplay of the
Yeah,
game.
it looked all right. I know that's not necessarily my type of speed though, but I could see you
Well, if it's a
possibly
3D,
enjoying that.
if it's a 3D platformer, that I don't know. Like I'm pretty sure it's a 3D platformer. We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah, we'll see on that. We'll see. Next up on the list, I had Capcom with the gosh, this one had me rolling in my chair. The Street Fighter movie cast reveal. I was like, oh gosh, I don't know what's up with some of these new movies and stuff and their reveals of how they kind of present it or whatever. Like I'm just thinking back to like the Mario movie one, and we were all rolling in that Nintendo Direct with their selections and stuff like that though. But seeing all the different actors they managed to get for the Street Fighter movie, which is ideally supposed to be coming out next year, I'm like, oh gosh. I was like, my goodness. A lot of these characters, I was looking at the actors. I was like, dang, these actors actually look like their characters, though. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, some of these, we were just laughing at some of the picks and reveals. Was there anyone that was getting you to laugh or anything like that, Steven?
Um, Guile looks kind of funny. I think the movie just looked like it's gonna be a fun movie. Like it just looks like it's gonna be like a movie that's just a little fun to watch. I have to watch the teaser again. Obviously, Zangief basically looks perfect. Um, the I did think it was really funny. I think Jason Momoa. I forget which character he was. He's there.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, like when they did that whole joke, like and now coming to the stage, the cast of Mortal Kombat 2, and then he's like, "Nah, just kidding."
Oh yeah, no, he was throwing some slang against that game. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
I know these
No, but yeah,
fighting games though, but I was like, dang.
it was cool, and I forget if they gave us a release date for that movie. I think it's next year. I know that, but like I don't know, it looks like a fun movie. It's that simple, honestly.
Yeah, apparently it's coming out October 16th next year. So yeah, that's gonna be like a movie like Mortal Kombat. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, but the moment that it's available for like streaming or digital or something, I'll make sure to see it at that point though, because that's kind of how I treated the Mortal Kombat movie though. But no, I'm looking forward to watching that one. I think it's gonna be a fun one. Like it got to lean into its fun side. It can't be like all seriousness or whatever though. But as long as it leads into the fun factor on that one, I think that's gonna be a fun little time. Not necessarily a gaming announcement though, but it definitely was a strong little segment that they managed to have out there for the Game Awards right there. So that was pretty good. Let's see here. What else we got on this list? After that, and I don't have these in any particular order, like in terms of like when they actually were dropping them all. I just randomly got this list here. Next up, I have that we managed to get a release date for Saraos, and it's actually coming out in April, and that's like the next big Sony IP that they got coming out for PlayStation. I'm still looking
It's
at this, and I'm like,
difficult. I
I
really,
guess it's like what the next Returnal without it actually being Returnal or whatever though. But I don't know that game never managed to draw my
uh,
eyes anywhere. But maybe for some other people like you, maybe.
so it sucks because no, I really do want to be excited. I do, but I gotta be completely fucking honest with you. It looks boring. It. I like Returnal. I think Returnal is a fun game, but I think the fact that they're literally doing a game that is the exact same thing as Returnal, but like with a new skin on it as their next game is definitely weird. It looks just like Returnal, but like less interesting. Like I think these new characters, this new story they're trying to do, are boring. And I just I look at this and I'm like, oh okay, this is just another Returnal. It
Hmm.
doesn't nothing that they've shown has really interested me so far. It's probably gonna be a good game. Maybe I'll pick it up just to see what's going on. Maybe they'll do a demo or something on PS5. It's fine. Like it looks really nice. It's got all them particles and all that. It's just not the type of game I can like get excited for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
It's weird because I like roguelikes a lot. So like, I hate saying that, but like it just doesn't really look all that interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at this. I was like, yeah, this ain't the Sony game for me. It's kind of like what Death Stranding 2 when that came out. I was like, nah, that ain't me. But when I looked at Ghost of Yota, I was like, no, that's all me right there. So I don't know. The other game we know that's coming out for PlayStation next year will be Wolverine. So it's kind of like that. It's the same effect like that with me. I know I'm gonna want to skipping out on that, but when Wolverine comes out, that's the one I'll be one up picking up. But yeah, okay. That's interesting. PlayStation was able to show up at the show, so that kind of made sense. This next one, Star Wars: Fate of the Old Republic. I looked at this, I was like, oh, okay, that's like that old N64 game we had on the system way back when, them kind of racing around and stuff like that on those. I don't know what you would call those things, because I'm not necessarily the biggest.
Odd racing. It's
Yeah, there we go.
odd racing.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm not necessarily the biggest Star Wars fan, though. But I mean, it always looks cool. Like at least that game in particular, though. And I know some people have been clamoring on like they really wanted to have like another game like that. But then when you do a little digging and research on this thing, they just formed this studio for this, and they just announced this thing. So if they just formed a studio and they hadn't really done a lot of work up on this,
Not
gosh,
coming out for a
yeah, it's
while.
not coming out for a while. Don't expect this in the next year, 2, 3, 4. We're looking closer to 5, maybe 6 years. So it
Yeah,
probably
but
won't come out until closer to like maybe 2030 if you're lucky. And I'm like, oh
on the
no.
topic of Star Wars, though, for something that we actually kind of know something about, um, they announced that new one. The one that's inspired. I don't know if you've ever heard of Knights of the Old Republic. It was a really critically acclaimed Star Wars like RPG.
No, I hadn't heard of that one.
But basically, they are making Star Wars: Fate of the Old Republic, which is a spiritual successor to that game. Basically, a sequel.
Bro, hold. I just said Fate of the Old Republic for this whole segment. So
Oh,
where
did you?
yeah,
I swear I didn't hear you
I
say
said
that.
Fate of the Old Republic unless I'm mixing up two
Oh,
different games.
maybe I didn't hear you. Maybe I don't
That's
know. I'm
literally what I
sorry.
said.
I
I
I'm
was
s-
like, you
I
had me
maybe
looking
listen.
back.
Maybe I'm having a moment. Okay, we all have we each had our little moments tonight. Either way, um, I was gonna say something about that game anyways. I was just gonna say that like I've heard a lot about the original Knights of the Old Republic. I don't know if you remember, they said they were working on a remake of the original, and then that got quietly canceled.
Hmm.
So I think they're doing this instead.
No, yeah, that might be possibly it. It would
I
kind of
don't know
make
why.
sense.
I genuinely don't know why they like canceled the remake. Like I prefer a new one obviously, but like they just didn't give us any info whatsoever. It was just like very vague bullshit. Who knows though?
Yeah, who knows though? So I know some people are excited for that announcement though, but at least for me personally, it wouldn't probably be anything I would personally pick up. But you know, some people they're gonna be willing to put in that time and waiting up on this thing though. But good waiting because we ain't seen this mess for quite some time.
Star
Quite
Wars
some
is
time.
Star Wars, you know? Like I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, so that one was a decent announcement. All right. These next two, Tomb Raider managed to show up, which we already knew we were gonna get something for Tomb Raider. We just didn't know exactly what we were looking at. But we managed to get two announcements. One was a remake of one of the older games with Legacy of Atlantis, and we also got a brand new entry for the Tomb Raider series. And for both of these, the remake's coming out next year in 2026, and then the brand new entry for the series is coming out in 2027 because they started off with the new one. They announced that one first in 2027. I was like, dang it. I always hate when companies release or announce their games like 2 years out in advance. I was like, why you gotta do this? Keep it within a year. But then when they hit us with the remake one, they said that one's next year. I'm like, oh, well, now I understand why you did that. That's okay. That's an easier pill to swallow. You got something to play for now, and then you'll have something for the next year. That's okay if you do it like that. I'm all right with that. I don't have any qualms with that. So
I
yeah,
think oh sorry.
no, go
So
ahead.
what you saying? I was just gonna say I think the new one is called I think it was Catalyst it's called.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Hello? Was there?
yeah. No, I
Oh,
heard what you
yeah.
said. I was in the.
Yeah, like it seems interesting. I must admit. I've never played a Tomb Raider game. I think I'll start with the remake, honestly.
I probably will do the same thing because I always eyeball Tomb Raider, and you know, it's like one of those old classic IPs where it's like it's always well known and beloved.
Yeah, like PS1, PS1.
Yeah, and it's like you know something that everybody, or if you know gaming and stuff like that, people always talk about Laura Croft, and I'm like, at some point I need to sit down and play one of those games, which I guess kind of in a weird way, kind of probably inspired the oh gosh, what's the other series I'm thinking for with PlayStation? Gosh, I'm looking at it right now and I just can't get it to roll off the tip of my tongue. Oh, Steven, you know what series I'm talking about with
Wait, which
PlayStation.
game?
Golly, the adventure style thing that almost looks like an Indiana Jones thing, but it's PlayStation's IP. Oh gosh,
Um,
what the heck is it? Oh my gosh. I'm literally
Uncharted.
Uncharted. Oh my gosh. Oh, gosh, I had
Yeah,
a big old brain fart. I know that series.
I was
For
like,
some
what
reason,
the
I
fuck?
just could not say it. I don't know why. I was looking at the cover and everything, but no. I think in some weird ways, I feel like Tomb Raider might have kind of pseudo inspire like Uncharted series and stuff like that. So I need to sit down and play. You know, probably this remake of that one. I need to sit down and play the Uncharted series. And some point this year, I might sit down and play, you know, the Indiana Jones game. I don't know if I'll play it on PS5 or Switch 2 or whatever when that comes out on that system, though. But no, I always think there's like a nice little charm to like adventure-ish style games such as those. But yeah, no, that's really cool to see a remake of one of the old ones. We get a brand new one in the next year as well. So I was like, you know, I'm all here for that. That's pretty cool. Solid announcements right there. I think for a lot of people that might have been watching the Game Awards, that could have easily been like some of their own personal highlights, especially if you happen to be, you know, a big Lara Croft fan with the Tomb Raider series, though. But was there anything else you wanted to piggyback off of?
No, I think that's it.
All right.
It's like it's not a franchise I'm necessarily fond of or know anything about. Like you know.
Yeah. All right, and then after that, I only had like a few other things to kind of mention that at least caught my eye. At least, the Lego Batman. We did manage to get an actual release date for that and an extended trailer on that. So, Steven, you can go ahead and give your thoughts on that one. I'm trying to figure out what that release date is because I did not type that down.
It's May. I think May 26th. So I can save you time there.
Yeah.
Either
Okay.
way,
Yeah. May
Either
29th.
way, May 29th. I was just going off of memory. Sorry. Um, game looks fun. It looks, it's looking like a classic Lego game, which it might sound crazy. Like, oh, of course it's a classic Lego game, but the last Lego game they did, the Star Wars one, the Skywalker Saga, was a bit of a departure from the usual Lego game stuff. It was a lot more focused on like actually being a game with gameplay, and it was kind of padded out a little bit. Still like a really good game, and it looked nice, this and that. Wasn't really it wasn't really as funny as I'd expect from a Lego game though. This game's looking like it's chock full of Batman references, funny at that, and it's gonna have cool gameplay kind of inspired by the Arkham series. And yeah, it's coming to Switch too, obviously. It's gonna be a game key card, which is fucking annoying for like a Lego game. Something you'd more likely be able to like play offline. So like having an actual real physical copy would be nice. And also, I don't think we actually know how this game's gonna run on Switch, which is annoying.
Hold up,
Hopefully,
hold up. We know it's coming out to Switch too. It's also coming out on.
a
Oh,
Switch. Yes, it might be Switch and Switch 2. Either way, I don't think it's coming to Switch 2 at the same time as the other
oh,
systems,
you're right about it. Gosh
which
dang it.
is so fucking annoying.
Now that
Why?
is
Like I'm
weird.
like here's the thing. Here's the thing. It is a Lego game. I'm probably not gonna get it at launch anyways. These things go on sale.
But
But
if you
it's
wanted
so
to get,
stupid.
and I think that's
It's
the other thing too, because I'm also looking at the box art for the Switch 2 version of the Lego Batman thing. I don't see that little, you know, where it says it's a game key card. I don't see that officially anywhere just yet. It's
I'm
kind of weird.
pressed in
I
Wario
seen some people
64.
say it, and then I see other art for where it doesn't necessarily say it yet. It's still a little too far out, but more than likely, with it being a small game, I wouldn't put it past them doing it as a key card game though.
Yeah, maybe. It's really difficult because like Wario 64 said it and he's always right. Like
Mm.
what can I say? I just kind of disappointed by that. Like the game keycard nonsense in general is disappointing because it really is publishers forcing. Maybe it's a mandate by Nintendo. We're being forced into an all digital future.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, for the longest time, Nintendo was the only true one where it's like, hey, you could take this cartridge or this disc when you're back in the Wii
Put it
U
in and
era,
just play
put
it.
it in and play it straight off the thing. Now it's almost like if it's not a first party game or a very few, like for example, if it's not necessarily a Cyberpunk 2077 case point, very few games outside of first party games are actually going to be where you can play it straight off the thing. Which means, guess what? You better have some really big micro SD cards, or be ready to start shuffling through your games, like how pretty much every PlayStation and Xbox owner has been for like the past couple of generations nowadays, though. So,
Yeah, and
uh,
I hate to say it, PlayStation right now is the best possible way to buy physical games. Because Xbox, they fucking hardly even have a console that can use them.
yeah, because a lot of people just get stuff off of Game Pass and stuff, so they don't really go out and
Yeah,
buy actual physical games and stuff. So yeah,
and like,
PlayStation would be like the next closest thing, especially for your third party games. To be
and
fair,
obviously, it is annoying that you have to download the game when you put in the disc. Like that's stupid. But at the same time, like, at least you're downloading it from the disc and not from online for the most part. Some games make you do both. Most games you download the entire thing from the disc.
yeah. So I don't know. I think based on the way how we're kind of seeing things play out right now, it would not surprise me whenever the next generation console after the Switch 2 comes out, uh, or not after it comes out, when the Switch 3 or whatever comes after the Switch 2 comes out, it wouldn't surprise me where at that point Nintendo's all in digital, or they do something kind of weird where the PlayStation they treat it the same way as like the PS5 or something like that. So yeah, we're really close to that, almost that all digital future. Like this, very well could it's good. It's gonna be like one of the last couple, or if not the absolute last one that's gonna have any kind of physical media. Because I'm thinking the PS6 it might try to firmly push away from that though, but it is a little disappointing. But we kind
Well,
of
I
veered
feel
off
like
track.
it's gonna be PS5. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. We always fucking shit on either PlayStation or Xbox if we get a chance. Um, I feel like PS6 will just be sold without a disc drive, and you'll have to buy it again. It'll be PS5 Pro all over again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which it will, obviously is going to be annoying. The disc drive is going to be like a highly sought after thing, and I'm sure they'll artificially make it scarce just to force the digital shit. Either way, like, I'm pretty sure discs hold up better than cartridges in terms of durability for like future use.
Mm,
Pretty sure.
potentially.
Like, as long as
I
you
mean,
don't
it's probably
scratch
easier
the disc,
breaking the disc
as
than
long
the
as you
cartridge, but at the same point,
yeah, if you keep
maybe
your
the
discs
data.
in good conditions, but because I'm pretty sure cartridges can just fail.
Yeah, yeah, potentially.
Either way, like I know we're not gonna have to deal with the consequences of this that much. Like, it's not like having digital games is bad. Like, it's convenient. I just like having my physicals once in a while. It's key cards that I have the issue with, which is why I'm just pissed about Lego Batman.
Oh yeah, no, that makes total sense though. But yeah, I think outside of that, that's pretty much it for Lego Batman. I'm actually weirdly, surprisingly, looking forward to that. I might not pick it up at launch if it meant the Switch 2 version comes a little later on, because I mean I'm almost at the point now with some of my Switch 2 games where if it's a third party game and I really wanted to play it on that system, I might just be content with just getting it digital. I'll still get my physical versions of the first party games, but stuff like that, probably maybe Pragmata, and because I'm actually kind of eyeballing that game now, stuff like that, and then like Monster Hunter Stories 3 when that comes out next year, I'll probably just be content with getting those digital because I really want to play it on my Nintendo system though. But yeah, outside of that, that's all I got on Lego. We did manage to get another pop culture segment up in the show. We got an extended look at the Mario movie sneak peek tease. And I was looking at that and I was like, oh, you know what? That's kind of cool. It was just like a continuation on that interaction with Mario and Luigi with Bowser Jr., like his Wonder style adaptation of him.
Yeah, it was it was like nothing. It was like maybe like two extra shots.
It really was. But I don't know, seeing Luigi knee Bowser Jr. like that in the face, though, that was pretty cool. I ain't gonna lie. Uh, but yeah, outside of that, there wasn't like too much more. I was just kind of surprised to see Nintendo show up like that outside of like the generic ad that they ran earlier in the show where it was like showing off Resident Evil. It showed off what was the other one? Final Fantasy VII Remake, and along with a couple other things though. So yeah, I was just kind of surprised to see Nintendo show up at least with their movie trailer up in that, even though it was like really short, but whatever though. And then outside of that, there was two other things that kind of ended the show off with. One of them was cool, and the other one I was like, "What the actual freak?" I don't even have the name of it in my notes. That's kind of how forgettable it was. Let's talk about the forgettable one. The one that they ended off the show with, which they shouldn't have. For some reason, Jeff Keighley was like, "You know what? I've seen this mess behind closed doors. It's something that no one has really ever seen. It's really cool." And it's like a hero looter shooter or whatever. Now, I'm like, how many of these things do we got to see before these companies kind of wise up like that? Like, I feel like that was just like another Concord-ish game that I was looking at. I was like,
Yeah.
why in the
It feels
world
like
was he kind of hyping this mess up as the very last reveal?
It feels like literally all of these, like Jeff Keighley for every single game announcement is like, okay, so this is by far the coolest thing that I have to show you. Like, God, your socks will pop off after seeing this announcement. We are so, this developer, all they do is cool shit. It's the only thing they ever do. And then they'll show a fucking generic ass looter shooter. Well, not looter shooter, it's a generic ass hero shooter. But it's like, it's like medieval, but it's futuristic medieval. Fucking this and that. And a lot of people are comparing it to Concord. It already has fucking like more dislikes than likes.
Oh
It is
gosh, I looked at those
it's
dislike
over.
and like.
It's fucking over.
Oh gosh,
The
do,
game
do you have those
already
numbers on you? Because I heard it from somebody else that I
no.
was just randomly watching. Oh gosh,
I
what
think it
even
has
is the
like
name of that game?
High Guard. I can look it up right now. Actually, what it has on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, tell me those numbers now, because that was wild hearing that like to dislike ratio. I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna send this
It's
thing out to die.
it's more wild that they even thought it was a good idea to release it. Apparently, it's late into development too, is what Jeff Keighley said.
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to take them much longer for them to be able to get this game out the door. It's basically kind of where they're getting at.
So I just seen this. If you go onto the High Guard Steam community page, people are saying things such as, "This looks like Concord 2 but on mobile," and then someone else says, "What a joke." Another person says, "Dead on arrival." And then another person says, "End of service 15 months after release. Peak player count 23,000."
Mm.
Or 2,300. Oh my god.
No.
Pretty easy to keep. This one's also pretty good. Pretty easy to keep High Guard a secret when literally no one would care enough to leak it. Because, a bunch of other stuff got leaked.
Yeah.
But High Guard didn't get leaked. But yeah, no one fucking cared. No one cared about it. I'm trying to find how many dislikes it has. I know it has a lot though. Okay, I found it. On at least on IGN's copy of the trailer. Had 2.9k likes and 25,000 dislikes
Golly.
as of yesterday.
That is crazy. You
Not
said
good.
2.9.
It has 10 times more 10 times more dislikes,
Yeah,
okay?
for every person
The
that was
amount
hitting
of
that
people.
like button, there was 10 people hitting the dislike. That's crazy.
Yes.
Oh man, I don't know what these people are
Really
thinking of.
fucking stupid.
Oh, that's just dumb. Oh gosh. Anyway, though, I'm looking at all of this, man. So I was like, I don't know how Jeff Keighley. Look, man, you had so many other games that you could have potentially ended this show off with. You could have ended off with something that we known of, Resident Evil 9, Play It Safe, Pragmata. You could have done it with that. You could have done it with
No,
Saraos. I mean, whatever, though. You could have done it with some of the Tomb Raider games or
there was
something
just
like
that.
that.
There was
But
just not that many announcements that really felt like major, except for the one which is coming up.
yeah, and I was like, or they could have done it with this easily. Could have swapped the two around because Jeff was even talking this game up in the little bits of the conversation right before he showed off the trailer, where he was like, "Hey, you know what? Every now and then you could maybe hope to have a game announced at the show or something like that." Something of a game series that it's been a long time since they had like their previous iteration in the series. And then lo and behold, they get you kind of walking down this corridor thing. You have lights kind of showing from the left and right, and it brings you all the way to the very end of the corridor. And then boom, you have some spotlights pop up. There's old Megaman sitting right there, and yes, they confirmed the next Megaman game coming out. It's coming out in 2027. The game is called Megaman Dual Override. And yeah, that was pretty much it in terms of most of the tease. I felt like you would have ended off the show better showcasing that right there. Granted, yeah, it's not my Mega Man X album. I don't know when they're ever going to hit that series again, though, but whatever. It's not that. But at the same point, I was like, shoot, that drummed up a lot more interest and hype than any of the, than what they actually managed to end off the show with. I was like, I don't know where Jeff Keighley's decision making is coming in, though. But if you had Capcom give you Pragmata, they give you Resident Evil 9, they give you a Street Fighter movie cast, and they gave you Mega Man Dual. I mean, you owe them. They threw you so many different bones. One of those four should have probably ended out this. Well, probably not the Street Fighter cast reveal though. But one of those other three ought to ended out the show though. I just don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Honestly, just don't get it sometimes with Jeff Keighley though. But I guess money talks. with some of these
But
decisions that he be making though, because there's literally no other explanation for this mess at this point.
yeah, I would just like to talk about Mega Man quick because Mega Man looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been waiting for Mega Man 12. Okay, I played Mega Man 11 when it came out. Fucking what, 7 years ago now? Jesus. Okay, I really liked Mega Man 11. Okay, I've played that game I think 3 times. Okay, it's a fun game. I think it's the best classic Mega Man game, which is tough because there's a couple really good classic Mega Man games that I go back to from time to time. Um, 2027's a tough pill to swallow, but like it looks so good, so I'm fine with that. Did you see the contest they're doing where you can like design a robot master for the game?
Yeah, I saw that little thing, and that's pretty cool to be able to have put your little
Kind of
foot
like an
stamp
impact.
into the game itself, which then I guess technically you got to be putting the credits because I mean you designed a whole stinking robot to be put up in the game, which is pretty cool. And I think the last time, it's not the first time they ever done this. I think they did this earlier with some of those NES games. One of the NES games, I thought, from what I've been looking around, they done it in the past, regardless though. So it's nice for them to be able to run that back again.
Yeah, it's something, alright.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, that was a really cool announcement, and I
Should
know
have been the
most of the
last
yeah,
announcement.
it should have been the last announcement. It would have been better than whatever that game we just talked about would have been, without a shadow of a doubt, and would have left a better taste in our mouths at the end of the show in terms of just the raw announcements. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it in terms of all the notable announcements that we managed to get that I had here on my list. Steven added one more, but I think that's about it. All right. Well, now that we got all the announcements out of the way, ooh, 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 we got to talk about
What?
this. I mean,
Oh,
I'm looking at the screen now, the little thing that I put up in that little thumbnail on the TV screen now. Jeff and Miss Piggy. I don't know what the freak is going on with these two right here, though. But I think that was a little too much, Steven, with them showing all of that stuff out there on the screen and stuff. This show was broadcast everywhere from like YouTube, Twitch, and shoot, they even had this mess on Prime Video. One of my friends from college said that he was watching this show on there. He was pretty happy about the high quality and stuff like you were able to watch on that show though. But it got a little steamy between him and Miss Piggy, didn't it?
yeah, Jeff Keighley's about to make a piggy go oink oink. Like Jesus.
I was
Like,
like, bro,
come
I,
on.
I was
You know
like,
what?
man, I was laughing that whole segment. I was like, bro, Kermit, you need to get your woman over here because then she about to leave you, man. I was like, she doing the most on TV, man, making you look bad.
Yeah, maybe, just maybe, the show would have been a little bit more interesting if there was an unedited 20-minute sex scene between those two. Just maybe.
And it's funny because it's like, dog, we know how close Jeff is with oh gosh, with why is his name slipping my mind? You know who I'm thinking of, Steven. Jeff and Kojima. And Kojima
Yeah.
didn't walk out on the stage this time around. It was all Miss Piggy this time. I was like, something's going down over here. I was like, okay, well.
He found someone that can please him better. Kojima can't do it anymore.
Oh gosh. But yeah, no. That little skit that Miss Piggy did with oh gosh, what's the other Muppet name in that?
Ralph?
Yeah,
Ralph,
Ralph.
yeah.
Yeah, that little skit that they did with the song and stuff, I was thinking it was gonna be cheesy, but they made all those references with all those other games and stuff, and somehow it flowed. It was actually pretty good. I actually liked it.
I think it's really funny that they're singing a song about how the Game Awards won't let you down, and it ended with the fucking Super Concord game. Yes, it let me down. Fucking liars.
Dear.
But the Muppets lied to me, Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy, the whore lied to me.
hold up here.
Alright,
Hold up. Just
fine,
because
fine.
Jeff Keighley is with Miss Piggy doesn't mean you can go off because you're getting jealous over there in your own little corner, man. I'm just saying.
She's going with everybody, okay? Like,
Oh gosh. But no,
what, do I have to throw an awards show? Will she come flocking to me?
No, I don't know. It's kind of funny how I guess we know Jeff is a big fan of the Muppets and stuff like that. I wish those other two old bats were up there at the balcony or whatever.
Yeah,
Though
making
I
fun of
love
the
the
show. Yeah.
commentary that they always were giving. I was like, dang, that's what the show was missing. It
I
was
think it's
missing them
fun.
two.
Yeah, I think it's fun when Jeff Keighley actually has some goddamn self-awareness.
I know. I was like, oh gosh, that's just great. Man, I wish those two were like staples. You could put in some other Muppets though, but having them two at the top, just making fun of the show the whole time, like that needs this to be like a permanent thing. Oh gosh, but anyway though, yeah, that was a little interesting, a little steamy moment. I guess he might have had some fun with her in the back. I don't know. I honestly don't
Yeah,
know.
probably.
And honestly, that's over all of our different thoughts, pay grades, and agendas and whatever. Though, regardless to say, even Jeff put out a little tweet on his own Twitter account with a picture of Miss Piggy. Gosh dang it, Kermit, you need to put this woman in line. Like this is absolutely too much. Don't kill yourself. Don't jump over the building like I thought I saw you out there on Twitter doing though. But I mean, I'm just saying, come get your girl before it's too late, man. Come get your girl. All right, well, that's it I want to say on that. Now we're going to go over into some more serious topics now because we got to go through all the different winners of the Game Awards that we managed to get throughout that whole entire show. So we're going to take it one step at a time. And we're not going to like linger on a whole bunch of these because some of them we can fly through real quick. If we got some things to say about some of the different people that managed to win on some of them, we'll say that along the way though. But yeah, I managed to get everything up on here on this little TV screen here. If y'all happen to be watching this on YouTube though, so we'll just take it all one step at a time like that. So we'll start off with the best esports team and work our way all the way up to game of the year though. So here we go. The esports one, Steven, this was always a weird category for me. And I'm looking at it. The winner was like Team Vitality for Counter-Strike 2.
I can hardly care.
I don't know how
fucking
people are
esports.
able to kind of come up with winners for that though. But like okay, whatever. And same thing with like best esports athlete. Like I don't know what comes up down to the criteria for like them selecting these people though. But I guess Chowie managed to win that one. All right, move on. And same thing with best esports game. You can kind of have a little bit more stuff to it. I guess Counter-Strike 2 with Valve. So I guess the people playing on Steam and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of these other ones, I heard of League of Legends and stuff like that, but not really any of the other ones. Have you?
No.
Okay.
Well, heard of the games?
Yeah, heard of these.
Like,
yeah, any one of these five
what?
games.
Yeah, it was League of Legends, fucking.
League of Legends, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, Valorant.
Never heard of that one.
Dota 2, and then obviously Counter-Strike 2 was the one that won.
Pretty sure Valorant is made by the League of Legends people, Riot Games. It's like a fucking hero shooter. I'm surprised you've not heard of Counter-Strike 2.
I felt like I heard of the name, but I just never really seen any footage of it.
Well, it's made by Valve, made by Steam. It's one of their franchises. It's the game we talked about last time where the fucking market of skins crashed. Remember I told you about that?
Oh, that was that one.
It is a first person shooter like game about like it's like search and destroy like about like basically like taking over a certain area. And I don't know, Counter-Strike's got a lot of stuff in it. Counter-Strike is like a very big like shooter. I'm pretty sure it might be free to play. I don't know. Either way, people spend money on skins. Skin economy got fucked a couple weeks ago. This and that. But just know that game is like a big game. And like Counter-Strike, the first one, it was popular for years and years. And I think it was just recently they made the second one.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to the next one then. We managed to get Content Creator of the Year. And it was Moist Critical. Now, look, I don't know a lot of these people, especially not that burnt peanut dude. But once I figured out Moist Critical is the one dude that created that meme where it's like, woo, baby, Baby, yeah, that's what I've been waiting for. Kind of that little meme right there. I was like, okay, that dude better win this thing. Just purely because of that one meme. I don't know any of these other jokers, but that one I'm like, all right, let's roll. Let's roll. I
Yeah,
wish I
no,
would have said it better, but yeah.
he's probably the only one that I cared about winning. Like, I don't know, he's the only one I know that well. Bert Peanut is just a stupid, like, VTuber nonsense.
I mean, I think a VTuber won last year, if I'm not mistaken, though. But it's weird how I never seen Scott the Walls. I mean, the dude had it like a TV series at some point. I don't know how that dude's never been nominated. Like, that's the only other person I felt like probably should have, and I would have easily gave him my vote. But like, what the heck? All right. Anyway, we'll move on. Most anticipated game. I wanted to vote Wolverine, but we all knew that GTA 6 was gonna be it. I mean, some people might like a little bit of Witcher 4. I know people like you, Steven, are really excited for Resident Evil Requiem. I'm personally excited for the 007 game and Wolverine. But everybody and their mom is all going to be excited for GTA 6. I think that thing won that won that one like 2 or 3 times technically. I was like, what the heck? Oh, you know what? Let me skip back a few because I think I skipped one of them before all the esports one. Player's Voice. This is like the one that's like 100% fan voted on.
Yeah.
Somehow Wither and Waze managed to win that one. I'm like, oh gosh.
It's the gotcha slop. They probably promised fucking free rewards if you vote for them.
I think in times past, Genshin Impact has managed to win it. I feel like it manages to show up every single time. I think I want to say Honkai Star Rail might have won one of them whenever it was like first released or something like that in the original year. Because I might have voted for that one personally myself, though. I mean, the game was good back then. But yeah, between all of them, I think it's kind of crazy how that one managed to win. But I was like, okay, whatever, though. That's all 100% fan voted, unless like you have some weirdo fans coming up out the woodwork. I'm just saying. All right, now we're back to where we at. Best adaptation. That one happened to go to The Last of Us Season 2. This one I'll always have some beef upon, because how the freak did any of these panel of judges forget that the Sonic movie 3 came out within this voting time period? Yes, it was technically released in 2024, but it was after the cutout, so it technically could have made it for this one, for this Game of the Year awards. And that just kind of shows that recency bias is a big factor. I kid you not. If you would have delayed that movie from December to February, it would have been up here and it would have kicked out one of these jokers. It probably would have kicked out like Until Dawn or something like that. I don't know.
I hate Game Awards so much.
That one's weird. And you knew good and well if that would have showed up here next to all of these, it would have won. The fact that it didn't beat Minecraft movie, I'm like, yeah, that just kind of says something, but whatever. All right, next up you have Best Multiplayer. The winner for that one happened to be Arc Raiders.
Heard of it. People like it. That's all I know about.
Yeah. Yeah, we can say that. We'll move on. As soon as my thing lets me move on. I was trying to do this with my left hand. There we go. All right. Best sports/racing game. All right. So we were in a call. Me and Steven, along with a few of our other Discord buddy friends. And some people wanted to see Sonic Racing Cross World wins. Me in my heart, and as much as I've been going through and covering games, I knew who the winner of this one was without a contest. But they wanted to see things get spicy, things get drummed up on there, though. And of course, the winner was Mario Kart World. That game has sold over like 10 million copies. How the heck you think you were going to expect to have Sonic Racing Cross World win when it only managed to sell like what, 1 or I think at most maybe 2 million copies? Well, it just wasn't no way.
I think that's inherently the problem with the Game Awards, right? That's inherently the problem, is that it really all does come down to like how high the critics' scores were, how much it sold, this and that. Like the critics, it's got a lot of. It's just, I don't know.
Hold up. All right, real quick. While we're right here, I'll pull this up on my different monitor. Look up the Metacritic score for Sonic Racing Cross World. I'm going to look up
it's a little lower than Mario Kart.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I think Mario Kart might be like in the high 80s. More Sonic Racing is, I think, in either high 70s or low 80s. Either way, like I don't know, like at the same time,
86 for
Zard,
Mario
like
Kart.
yeah, it's like I think Sonic Racing is lower, and then Air Riders is kind of hovering in between them. Air Riders is better than both of them, obviously, but it just didn't have a chance to compete. Um, Mario Kart was gonna win no matter what, just because one, it's Mario Kart, two, it's Mario Kart, and three, it's fucking Mario Kart.
Yeah, and it
Like
was
it's
82 for Sonic.
yeah, like I don't know, it's like that doesn't even matter though. It's like I don't know, they're both good games, but Mario Kart World does have a lot of noticeable flaws and like stuff that just feels missing. Like you got like judging it as an $80 game, it is laughable. It is a laughable $80 game. I didn't get it for 80, but there are people that did. I'm talking to one right now.
Well, I'm just saying, though. I
Oh,
had
but
my fun with the game. That's all I got to say. I
yeah,
like
but you
it better than
completely yeah,
Sonic.
but
I'm just saying that's just me
fair enough.
personally, but whatever.
But you completely understand where I'm
No, I
coming
get where you're
for
coming from. Yeah.
that game has to be improved. They have to fucking improve it. They have to. They have to either add new content and just give it to us for free, or put it in NSO expansion pack, or whatever they do. Because this custom update, the custom item update they just recently did, which I guess we can talk about it here real quick, was a fun update. I've been playing it, messing around with the items, just like 8 Deluxe is really fun, and it is actually getting me to play the game a little bit again.
Hmm.
And you can now, for example, Zard, if me and you are in a friend lobby, we can now queue up with random people online in both knockout tour and regular races.
Oh, because in Knockout Tour it was weird because you had to already be in a race, kind of like how 8 Deluxe was, and then me having to hop in with you
Yeah, but
versus
now
just forming the room, keeping your people locked together all from the start, and then
well, because it
throwing
wasn't
in
even like
other
that at
random
first.
online people. Yeah.
For example, if I wanted to play with you and randoms, I had to find you in a. I had that we both had to press it at the same time or this and that. Now I can just make a room. You can join me, and then we can queue up to find people online, randoms. Before we had to fill the lobbies with CPUs,
No, yeah, that's true. That is true.
and it sucked. So yeah, I actually might play the game a little bit more. I played it actually earlier today,
Hmm.
and I had fun. I did feather only, so we were like you doing feather and like discovering cool shortcuts that you usually wouldn't be able to do without the extra height.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
That game definitely is the most technical racing game that came out this year. Tons of crazy tech in that game and movement opportunities. It's just the intermission tracks are just not nearly as fun as the rest of the game, and it just feels like there's a big story mode shaped hole that the game really needed to feel worth its price.
Yeah. All right. Well, we went a little bit longer giving thoughts on the best sport racing game though, but that was all good.
Yeah, it was a pretty controversial one because a lot of people think Sonic should win, and I really did like Sonic a lot. I liked both racers, but like Sonic, I probably did like a little more.
Okay. All right. Next up, you had the best sim strategy one. And I don't know, dog. How the heck is Jurassic World Evolution 3 a strategy one? Whatever. The winner on that one was Final Fantasy Tactics. Good, good stuff. I still didn't sit down and play that game. Gosh, dang, there was just so much stuff coming out this year where I just was never even able to actually boot up and fire up that game. Got the Switch 2 edition of that game. I was like, ugh. But yeah, I need to do it at some point. But yeah, good to see that one win. Even though it was an older game, surprisingly. Best family game. This is always the Nintendo category one. Like we literally had, actually we only had two Nintendo games between Mario Kart World and the winner Donkey Kong Bonanza. Thank goodness this boy won something. I wish he would have won something more outside of this the one given category of this one being. But I was like, oh okay. But yeah, it was nominated for Game of the Year. We'll circle around to that a little later on though. Best fighting game. I was looking at all of these and we were in that call and we were just thinking, you know what? Wouldn't it be funny if for some reason the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 happened to win? Because that's just a collection of just old just old games or whatever though. But no, Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, it did manage to win. So I'm like, okay, Fatal Fury love right there. I can't complain about that. Best RPG. Now, this is typically the category I'd be looking at, Steven. Like, I'm an RPGist through and through, along with our good buddy Sonic Q. And I can say there weren't really a lot of RPGs that came out this year that were, like, really good. But out of all of these, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 happened to win it. And this is when the snowball effect, the Claire Obscure, started to take place. Them and all of their French get-ups and stuff at that show too. Like they were like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a posse, like a gang or something. Like they were all
spending,
like, yeah.
Good for them, obviously, but like they all spent like fucking 3 minutes up on stage talking about this, and that. Like, oh, thank you for this, thank you for that. Oh, this was so much thanks. We really loved making our game and like pressing the buttons and doing the thing, this and that. And fucking for each award, each of their fucking 9 golden awards that they definitely are earned.
All right, we'll circle around to that. We'll circle around
Okay.
towards the very end. We don't want to give it away too much, but
Sorry,
we
just
got to
yeah.
see we got to see it little by bit. In terms of best action and adventure, Hollow Knight Silk Song was the one that won that one. I mean, you had some pretty good contenders for each one of these 5. I mean, between Split Fiction, the Indiana Jones, obviously Hollow Knight. I voted personally for Ghost of Yote, and then there was Death Stranding 2. I don't think you could really neck any one of those 5 games, to be honest. That was a solid category, to be honest. But
I kind of wish Split Fiction got something. I really liked Split Fiction.
I
And
wish
it made
Ghost
that
of
sense.
Yote got something. I don't know if it even won anything. I'll refresh my memory as we're going through this list, but I don't think
I
it
don't
really
think
won
so.
anything.
No, I don't think it did.
Dang, that's crazy. That was a PlayStation game. All right, we'll keep the list on rolling here. Best action game. That one went to Hades 2. I personally voted for Ninja Gaiden 4, but Hades 2 was the one that managed to win that one out. So I'm like, oh, okay. That kind of made sense, though. Dune the Dark Ages, unfortunately, my boy couldn't get nothing. Whatever. Best VR AR. All right, this is where things get a little weird because it's not like me and Steven can really vouch on this. Gosh, it kind of would have made sense for Alien Rogue Incursion to do it though, but no, the Midnight Walk apparently won that one. Best mobile game. Oh gosh, all right, I always got to say something about the mobile games. Out of all these mobile games, I played 2 of them. Kyle has played 1 of them, my other good buddy. And I don't think anybody I really known has sat down and played either Destiny Rising or Wuthering Waves. And gosh dang it, that Uma Musume Pretty Derby won that thing. I was thinking Persona 5 The Phantom X, which is what I personally voted for. The game's solid. It's good. I was thinking that one was gonna win. But the fact that one won with Uma Musume, I'm like, oh gosh, here goes Mario, my other buddy in the Discord call. I bet that apparently he was popping off. I was like, oh, thank goodness I was not there, because that dude was probably foaming at the mouth. I'm just saying though, like he really likes himself some horse girls. I'm just saying though, but like, ooh. I'll leave it at that. That's it for best mobile game. All right, moving on. Best debut indie game. Oh, here comes number 2, Steven. That goes to Claire Obscure Expedition 33 because I never heard of any one of these other 3 games. So we'll keep the show on and rolling. Oh dear, I really need to do this with my. Plug this little mouse here real quick. There we go. All right, best independent game. That one, another one, Steven. Went to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. That's kind of weird between like the past category and then this one right here. I don't understand why they got like 2 separate kind of categories like that, but whatever though. I guess they just like to spread out some of the wealth. I guess it's the reason why they do that. Best community support. That went to Baldur's Gate 3. It wasn't Fortnite this time, Steven. How does that make you feel?
Fortnite doesn't really have the best community support. Like they'll take a decent amount of time before they like fix a problem. And even then, like, sometimes they don't completely fix a problem.
Hmm.
They're not amazing with the communication on certain things, basically.
I gotcha. All right, well that makes sense. We'll move it. Keep it moving. Best ongoing. I voted for Marvel's Rivals, but it was No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky on that one. Not a Final Fantasy 14, not a Helldivers 2, not even a Fortnite. I was thinking it was going to be one of them 3 games, though. But No Man's Sky? All right, whatever. Next up, you had Games for Impact. South of Midnight won that one. I can't really say too much for games with impact. I'm like, I always find that every time that they put games in this category, I don't know about you, Steven, but I just never hear about these games whatsoever. I don't know. Innovation and accessibility. Doom the Dark Ages did manage to win one, and you wouldn't think it would be the one to actually win something like that with this
Well, no,
category.
I
But
knew it was gonna win because that game's got like fucking tons of options. It's got options for literally every single thing under the sun, Zard. Which, like, because that I don't know if you remember this. You could like adjust the speed of the game in its
oh
entirety.
yeah, you know what?
You could
That
like
is true.
make it slower. You can make it faster. This and that. Which the game did feel pretty fucking slow. Maybe I have to play through it again, but faster.
I remember playing through, and I still need to sit down and actually finish the game though. But I remember playing through it. It didn't necessarily feel like really slow for me personally though. But I don't know. But yeah, good stuff right there. Good stuff. Then you had best performance. Oh shoot, another one, Steven. Claire Obscure, another
Yeah,
one.
but
She managed to win that one. It would have been funny if what was it, Ben Starr? Ben Starr, I think, is the dude that plays. Maybe I should have put my vote towards him. But I also really like the woman that also played it. Within Ghost of Yote though. But Ben Starr is the dude that I think also voiced Clyde for Final Fantasy 16. And I was like, based on that work, I was like, okay, I could tell he probably did a good job in this game. So it kind of makes me kind of curious to kind of hear, what all did he do in this game though. But voice actors, I can't really snuff them for. They do good works in any of these games. They always add extra life to the game. So congratulations to all of them that got nominated. Hats off. All right, best audio design. You know what? Claire Obscure got beat in this category, Steven, because Battlefield 6 managed to win this one. Somebody was able to slay a Claire Obscure, at least within one category.
yeah, I guess it's like, yeah, I guess so. Just one. Like,
Yeah.
we'll give you guys that one. Clear Obscure didn't pay enough money.
And then you got best score in music. That one went to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. So they managed to get that one. Best art direction also went to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Notice how I voted Ghost of Yote in both of those two. Didn't get nothing. I was like, okay. Best narrative. Once again, went to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Ghost of Yote can't catch a break. And then you have, all right, now we're getting kind of close to the end. Best game direction. I always tell Steven this every time we get to around this point of year. 90% or 85 to 90% of the time, whichever game typically wins this category, there's a very good, strong chance that they wind up winning Game of the Year. And you had Split Fiction, Hades 2, Ghost of Yote, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, and Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Lo and behold, Claire Obscure was the one that managed to win this category, though. And I was like, oh, gosh, well, whatever. It is what it is. The writing's pretty much on the stone when you got a game winning that many categories in a row, because then that leads us into the big final one, Game of the Year. You had Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. You had Hollow Knight Silksong. You had Hades 2. You had Donkey Kong Bonanza, my boy, the Banana Slammer. You had Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. And you had Claire Obscure Expedition 33. And between all of those jokers, Steven, I was thinking, I was like, you know what? If for some oddball reason Donkey Kong Bonanza would have won, I would have turned my camera on in that Discord call, and I would have been going ape crazy. I might have flipped over some stuff. Y'all would have saw me that. I would have immediately recorded a video and threw it up there on my YouTube channel. I would have been popping off for the next like 24 hours. But I knew good and well that wasn't going to happen.
I would have been happy. It won Best Family Game for some reason.
Yeah, the fact that it wasn't nominated in Best Game Direction kind of already let me know it wasn't going to potentially have a shot at Game of the Year, unfortunately.
I don't think that matters. Like, Best Game Direction is usually the game that like innovates the most or has the most like unique aspects to it. Donkey Kong Bonanza is very derivative of a 3D Mario game. I'm not saying that's bad, by the way. I'm just saying that a lot of people compare it to Mario Odyssey for a reason.
No, yeah, pretty much. And I was just thinking, I was like, dang, I was like, what is it going to be? But yeah, Claire Obscura managed to win this. And then when you start going through and then start looking at all the different categories and, figuring out which one, different stuff, I mean, it was pretty much a Claire Obscura sweep. They managed to walk out here with 9 wins in the categories that they were nominated for, which is the most in history. I think the one before that, was The Last of Us Part 2. I think whenever it was in the Game Awards way back when in the year that it released.
Red Dead Redemption 2 won a bunch of awards, but then like God of War got the game, the game award.
Yeah, I do remember that one, like where we thought that one was going to win, and then God of War managed to sneak up as what seemed to be like a dark horse or whatever, though. But yeah, Claire Obscura, for it to be an indie game and to set a all-time record as a high, props off to them, because with it being an indie game and stuff like that, pulling a major feat like that is probably a really hard thing to do. But I think from what I heard, I think it's just basically like a bunch of members from like a Ubisoft studio that managed to form their own little studio together. So like a lot of good talent was there on that team, though. So hats off to all the people that managed to work on that game. Now, because it won Game of the Year, and I hadn't really heard, I heard people talking about it. It was always in the discussion throughout the whole year, but I never really kind of turned my eyes strongly towards it. Like I knew it could have been a potential Game of the Year candidate, but I never did enough digging on as to why. Now that it's here, I'm gonna have to at least watch some trailers just to kind of see what the game is about, because I really hadn't done any digging on that game whatsoever. All the rest of these games, Death Stranding, heard about. Obviously you had a previous thing. Donkey Kong Bonanza, I played it. Hades 2, heard enough of it, and saw a lot of different trailers and stuff like that, thanks to you and some of my other buddies and friends. Same thing with Hollow Knight Silksong. I knew the original Hollow Knight. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, that's the weird one. Like, I just know that wouldn't be for me personally. But all these other ones I could understand for the most part. Claire Obscura is just that one that I just really hadn't, kept my head on the swivel about, though. So I got to do my time up on there, though. But how you feeling about the winner of Game of the Year, Steven?
I think it's really, really cool that they had so much money left over from their game being so successful that they were able to pay off the Game Awards completely.
Steven,
listen. It's probably no. I'm joking, of course. It's probably a good game, but like getting literally all of these fucking awards over games that, in my opinion, do everything that they do but better. Like, God, man, it just doesn't seem right. It feels like one of those things that just came out of nowhere. Oh, we're gonna vote for the underdog, not because it's actually better, just because they let them have everything. Like, let's give them their one chance in the spotlight. This and that. I don't know. People, I only know like one person that has played it, and they say they like it and all, but it just does not look fucking interesting to me. It looks like the most fucking cookie cutter, bland, boring shit I could possibly play. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll turn around on it. But like right now, at least, I could not give less of a fuck. And it's just so annoying seeing like why even have the Game Awards if like everything's gonna be basically all of the important categories are even just gonna be swept by the same thing. Annoys me.
Yeah, because they do some of those voting categories and stuff where it's like, all right, for best You got bang, 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 bang. Best family game. You got bang, 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 bang. You'll sometimes get someone to step up, which the best family game, you usually have like Nintendo reps or something like that. So they'll let the people speak on that category. But some of these other ones, when they fly by, when Jeff's speaking on the stage or they're doing some of that stuff in the pre show, I mean, you don't even get like a lot of time for somebody to actually go up and actually take the award and say some remarks about it. Though it's very few handful, like all the ones that Claire Obscure won. Those are the important ones where they actually let them speak. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like they need to put still a little bit more emphasis on the people actually getting those rewards. I think it's been readily getting better in terms of the overall pacing for this show. It might have been the best one that we had by far. Now that I'm
Yeah, it was
thinking
just the
about it,
announcements.
yeah, because with the announcements and stuff, like, I mean, you're not going to have a home run out the park with all of the announcements, though. But everything we just talked about here on the pod, all of those were solid announcements, and they were sprinkled out at a good pace where they weren't just all clustered towards the beginning, middle, or the end, and you were just going through a ton of weirdo, wacky fluff. It was just kind of nice spread out. So it was probably the best pacing we had in quite some time. It didn't feel like the show overstayed its welcome. Like what? It started off, Steven, with a half-hour pre-show, and they managed to get the main show done in the span of, what was it, 3 hours? Like a Marvel
Yeah,
movie, like an in-game or whatever. And
I
then that
don't
was
know. It's
it.
like I just think I think having like literally all of the Claire Obscure people come up on stage and do the whole fucking thing every single time was just annoying. I don't know. Like besides that, yeah, I guess it was paced a little bit fine.
Hmm. But yeah, overall, I mean, I had a somewhat fun time with it. I mean, I always have a fun time actually sitting there and whether it be just making some snarky remarks at some people or hearing stuff. And I always really loved the orchestra every time when they introduced the music for the Game of the Year award winners, which I started going back and listening at the older stuff from previous years. Like I don't think there's ever like really like honestly a bad one. Like I can even think back to that one year where I think Resident Evil 2 was up in there and the dude was singing and stuff like that. Like they have some good renditions of all of the different musics, and it's always nice hearing all of it flow together. This one year's, granted, yeah, I hadn't played Claire Obscura, but that little musical beat that they had up in there, that was really nice. The Hollow Knight Silk Song stuff was cool. And shoot, I forgot. I guess Mario Odyssey, they did that with that one along with Donkey Kong Bonanza, where you had the person out there singing that was singing for Pauline in the game. So that was a really nice touch. I wasn't expecting that, but that was pretty cool. But overall, the Game Awards, it was fun. It was just a nice little cool little event just to hang out with some friends, see what was going on in the gaming sphere as a whole. But I think that's kind of where I'll leave it off in terms of my final thoughts. If I were to rank the show, I'm leaning on a C minus. I think I'm leaning on a solid C minus.
D
And you say D,
D.
so we're kind of in the same camp. Okay. I say C minus because it's probably the best show that we had in quite some time in terms of the pacing. I think that's the reason why I was like C minus. It could have easily been a D, but I was like, whatever. But yeah. Any other final thoughts on this, Steven, for the Game Awards?
No, I'm sorry. I'm a little tired, so we're gonna probably end soon, which is fine by me. But like either way, like the Game Awards kind of gave me the similar vibe, putting me to fucking sleep, bored the
Hmm.
fuck out of me, and then I woke up big time when Mega Man got revealed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's understandable. We'll just never have a moment in time with the Game Awards where it's like you'll get like a Joker reveal for Smash Brothers anymore. Like we'll just never see Nintendo be that involved with the Game Awards. Probably never ever again. It's a little sad, but it just kind of makes sense. Whatever though. All right. Well, that's going to basically do it in terms of all the topics that we had to go through and talk and discuss about within my ZardCast episode 115. So thank you all for tuning in and bearing with a few little technical issues I had early on in the show, though. But it's all in good fun, though. But yeah, it's crazy to think, man, this has been a wild 2025, Steven, a wild 2025. And we'll probably say some more within like our special holiday special episode that we'll pre-record and probably drop that out some point next week. But yeah, in terms of this being the last live podcast of 2025, man, it's truly been a year, Steven. It's truly been a year. Any final thoughts that you want to say on this last episode that we'll do live here on the channel for 2025?
2025 has certainly been a interesting year. Got the Switch 2. Finally got to shit on it just as equally as Xbox and Sony, honestly. And it's, equality. But, like, all that aside, I think we got some good games this year. We had a lot of fun talking points this year. And hopefully next year's also interesting. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting stuff. Maybe GTA 6 will get delayed 2 more times and we can laugh about that.
You can hope.
Either way, happy holidays to anyone watching this.
Yes, happy holidays indeed. Enjoying your Christmas, your Kwanzaa, whatever you're having to be kind of doing or whatever, though. Just have a happy holiday all the way around, though. But yeah, that's going to basically do it in terms of our ZardCast episode 115. So just another brief reminder, this is the last live stream podcast we're having for 2025. Some point next week, I'll have a pre-recorded ZardCast episode. I don't know what day I'll drop it on. It could be Sunday. It could be some other random time of the day. It's just going to be before Christmas Day. I'll drop it out for sure before that day because we'll just go through our regular holiday traditions, talk about, stuff that probably happened throughout the year, shooting the business, whatever, though, and then and anything else in between. It's a really casual episode of the pod that I'll wind up doing on that day whenever I finally drop that out, though. But I'll keep y'all updated on it, though. But yeah, outside of that, this is the last episode of the year, and we'll resume back with regular live stream podcasts. Oh, if I remember right, it's gonna be in the middle of January. I won't say what day, but just in the middle of January, though. But I'll keep y'all up to date here on the channel, or especially on my Twitter accounts and stuff, especially my ZardCast podcast dedicated Twitter account. All right, with all that out of the way, once again, have a happy holidays, everybody. We'll see y'all in the holiday special, and that's going to do it for the ZardCast episode 115. So if you really like this, make sure you're going to hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and that bell to stay up to date. All things video game related, I feel like talking about and discussing if you happen to be watching this live here on YouTube. If you happen to be watching elsewhere or one of my audio-only podcasts, or you happen to be listening to this on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, even iHeartRadio. Yes, you can listen to me in the car. Make sure to give us a 5-star review. Just let people know, fans, friends, family, enemies, all alike. Hey, we're just a couple dudes that just love talking about gaming-related news, pop culture stuff, and everything else in between, though. But that's going to truly do it in terms of this one episode, though. So remember, y'all, until our video I make next, until my next ZardCast episode, well, the holiday special, I'll see y'all later.